Well, without further ado, let's get this show on the road. The players, as you can hear in the background, coming out now. So I'll hand over to the voice you just heard there, former Charlton defender Scott Minto, alongside match commentator here on Talksport 2 for West Bromwich Albion versus Ipswich Town. It's Adam Bridge.
Yeah, thank you, John. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to a chilly Hawthorns. I, for one, this morning, as I looked out of my window and saw white ground, thought that one of the coldest grounds in the UK would be freezing tonight. But it's not too bad. Scott's even forgotten his gloves and he's okay, which is good.
I'm okay. Slightly worried when I first realised, but it's not that cold.
And there's no players wearing gloves from what oh no, there is. Sorry, my mistake. Cedric Kipre's got gloves on. That's no surprise. And he's one of the back line for West Bromwich Albion. Just the one change from that defeat last time out against Southampton, where they went down by 2-1. Moat comes into the starting 11. Chalobah is not in the matchday squad today. So it's Palmer who continues in goal. 6 clean sheets to his name already this season. Furlong, Bartley, Kipre and Townsend at that back four. So again, Bartley and Kipre keeping Semi Ajayi, who's been a real fan favourite over the last few years, out of the starting 11. He's on the bench today. Yakuzlu and Moat will be the two holding midfielders. And then a fairly fluid front four, really. Diangana and Phillips expected to go wide. Jed Wallace will sit in and captain the side behind Brandon Thomas Asante, who has 4 goals to his name this season. They welcome goals back to the bench as well. John Swift returns from injury. He's their leading scorer so far this campaign. He is amongst the substitutes today. He's scored 6 championship goals. He's alongside Griffiths, Ajayi, Malumbi, Peters, Sarmiento, Pippa, Tom Fellows, and also the returning Josh Madger, a name you may remember from the Championship as well. He spent part of 2022 on loan at Stoke. He'd been to Fulham before and of course made his name at Sunderland before heading off to Bordeaux. As for Ipswich Town, second in the table, high flying and unbeaten in the league since August the 25th. 2 changes today. Brandon Williams and Wes Burns come into the starting 11. It means Amari Hutchinson and Harry Clark drop out. Hutchinson again not in the matchday squad today, but Clark is amongst the substitutes. Vladke's in goal, a back four of Williams, Wolfenden, Burgess and Davis. Morsey and Taylor the central midfielders, with Burns, Chaplin and Broadhead supporting Hurst, who leads the line. Walton, Clark, Ladapo, Harness, Ball, Jackson, Scarlett, Luongo and Tuanzebe are the substitutes for the visiting side. Gavin Ward is the man in the charge in the middle. Ipswich Town are all in there changed orange strip from top to toe away to our right hand side. It's the traditional blue and white stripes for the Baggies, who will kick from left to right towards the Smethwick end in the opening 45 minutes here at the Hawthorns. The atmosphere is good. There's a few empty seats around, and as Scott Minto has already said, this could be a really good game of football.
I think it's a great game of football. I really do. As I say, it's fascinating between a side that came up from League One through automatic promotion, is actually smashing it considering where they were not that long ago, against the side that has been used to being in the Premier League for many, many years, but now don't quite have the finances for one reason or another, and are trying to show that they can be in the playoffs.
And we're off and running, and it's the Baggies who get us underway. And in the mauve goalkeeper kit away to our left-hand side, Alex Palmer will immediately launch a ball out wide to this right-hand side, looking to try and find the fullback Darnell Furlong, who pushed on midway inside the Ipswich Town half. And it's the first throw of the game that goes West Bromwich Albion's way. I saw Ipswich a few weeks ago against Birmingham City. They were outplayed by a front foot Birmingham City side in the opening 45 minutes before coming back from 2 down to preserve that unbeaten record on the road. It'll be interesting to see how they respond today. A couple of draws away from home. They drew 2-2 against Rotherham as well, but still unbeaten away from Portman Road this campaign. It's impressive. It's 8 games and the last side to manage 9 at the start of a championship season, and that was Swansea. Can they match that feat today? Bukoslu breaking out from the middle of the park for West Bromwich Albion, feeds it right towards Furlong, but beaten to it down this left-hand side, and an early charge forward for Leif Davis, who gets the ball in towards the edge of the penalty area, and immediately Cedric Kipre is in there with a busting challenge. He is the only player I think who's donned the gloves. Oh no, Matt Phillips has got him on too, but we'll let him have that because that was a decent challenge.
No, we won't, by the way, Adam, but we'll keep quiet. I didn't wear gloves once in my career. But look, everyone's entitled to do what they want to do. But one thing we have seen in the first couple of minutes, both sides looking to try and attack. We've already seen a couple of counter-attacks as well. And one person I'm really looking forward to seeing in the flesh is Leif Davis. Being a left-back myself as well, seeing the stats that he's got, the assists, the chances created. He's got a wand of a left foot, and he's absolutely smashing it in the Championship this season. 5
assists in his last 7 games, the stats you're talking about. Incredibly impressive for the 23-year-old Englishman, born in Newcastle. And he showed what he could do in League One last season, and he's brought it to the party in the Championship. And there's just a little bit of me when I hear Gareth Southgate sitting there moaning about his lack of left-sided options in defence. You think, well, hang on a minute, you've got a young lad there who's tearing up the Championship. Well, surely have a look.
I think it's a little bit early for him, to be honest with you, and it'll be interesting to see whether Ipswich are able to get into the Premier League. I do think nowadays that players need to be playing Premier League football. But the last one who I thought had a half a chance that I can have at the top of my head was Calvin Phillips, where he was playing that well for Leeds in the Championship, and you're thinking, well, he could get a call, and very soon after getting into the Premier League he did.
Keeper 8 in possession, just short of halfway for West Bromwich Albion, out wide on that left-hand side. Finds Phillips, who turns it round the corner nicely. The charge is on from Townsend, the fullback, but it's well dealt with by Wolfenden and put into touch for a throw on the far side to West Bromwich Albion, who do start well here at the Hawthorns, that's for sure. And their record here is quite impressive. Only Huddersfield have scored first in their home fixtures this season. And generally, on 5 occasions so far, they've been in front inside the first half an hour. So they'll be looking to start quickly again today against this Ipswich side. And they're on the attack with Thomas Asante down that far side. On the left-hand side for West Bromwich Albion, being forced back by some good pressing from the visitors. And it's back in midfield with Yukuzlu, who helps on its way forward and is laid off this occasion by Dean Garner, who's found a little bit of form. He was in international duty for Congo during the international break, but only played 45 minutes after taking a knock on the ankle. But he's fit enough to start for Carlos Corberan's side, who are having a decent spell of possession early on here in this game. 3.5 minutes played on Talksport 2. It's West Bromwich Albion with the ball on that far side. Infield again to Moat, who's back in favour this season after being sent out to Middlesbrough last campaign. Here's Townsend. He's got support out wide from Phillips, who he finds level with the edge of the penalty area. On that left-hand side, just dancing his way forward, but he can't force his way further inside, and it's a good challenge that blocks him out on that far touchline, and that's going to be a throw-in on that far side for West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, really interesting. Both sides wanting to get hold of the ball. It's the first time that one of the two have really got a good passage of play going up, and that came from the home side. You know, Murray getting on the ball, passing to Townsend, who comes inside as well, lets it out to Phillips out wide, so really good play from the Baggies.
Here's Wallace down the right-hand side. Low ball into the penalty area across the 6-yard box, and it bounces up and just beyond Thomas Asante, and then Phillips can't convert it at the back post. Instead, they've got themselves a corner, but what a ball from Jed Wallace from this right-hand side.
Wonderful ball. Him just coming out onto the right wing. He doesn't have to take on the fullback. It was almost David Beckham-like. Just get you half a yard, whip it around the left back, and it's a wonderful ball. It bounces up. I'm still not quite sure, and I'm watching a replay, how Thomas Asante doesn't get anything on it.
Here's the corner on the far side. Phillips will deliver. Nearly 5 minutes played here at the Hawthorns. Rightfully swung over, flicked on and in at the near post. It's been turned home by Darnell Furlong. And West Bromwich Albion have their early lead. Just 5 minutes on the clock. It's Furlong with a header from Phillips' corner, and a brilliant start for Carlos Corberan's side. They have the lead. West Bromwich Albion 1, Ipswich Town 0.
Well, we weren't quite sure how Thomas Asante didn't get on the end of that cross from Jed Wallace, but from the resulting corner, they certainly got on the end of that one, and it was all about the ball coming in, and it was a header from Furlong. I mean, we're disappointed that the whole of the Ipswich defence, when you think about where he actually headed the ball, Furlong, he's right on the corner of the 6-yard box, and he's almost going for like a flick on to the far post, but it's on target. No player's able to get there. And I tell you what, Hagge as well, not able to get anything onto it. He's expecting someone to come onto it, so he's kind of staying where he is. And the ball goes to the far post. Great start for the home side.
Second goal of the season for Darnell Furlong. His 145th start today for West Bromwich Albion in the league. A terrific start to the game for the Baggies, and all of a sudden the Hawthorns has come to life.
Certainly, the atmosphere here was amazing before the game. It's got even better now. And one thing they need to do is make sure that they just try and keep control of the tempo and pace of this game and do not concede any chances away. For Ipswich, they need to start getting on the front foot. After the initial first couple of minutes, it's very much West Brom who have been on top since then and creating the chances. So they just need to get their style of play on now.
5 home wins already this season for West Bromwich Albion. In fact, since the start of last November, they've won 50 points. That's 4 more than any other side in the Championship. And when you consider the record prior to that under Steve Bruce, it's the first thing that Carlos Corberan did. They had a terrific run. I think it's about 8 games and they just didn't concede a goal here.
I think that's what managers do when they first come in. They try and tighten things up. Normally, when you come in as a new manager, it's because things aren't going well. So one of the first things you try and do is make yourself difficult to beat. If you have to score 2 or 3 to win a game, very difficult to do.
Lovely ball from Wallace into Thomas Asante. He's got Phillips to his left-hand side, tries the shot. Oh, it's beaten away by Vladke inside the penalty area. Diangana tries to get there again, and it has to be poked out of play this time by Cameron Burgess, and it's a throw down this right-hand side to West Brom.
Well, the Ipswich fans, or should I say the Baggies fans now, are really buoying on their side. I mean, he's got, 3 yards of space there, Thomas Asante, to take the touch, take another touch, and then have a shot, and it's dipping. And Clackley had no chance with that of keeping hold of it. Ipswich needs to make sure they don't concede a second goal.
And this is a set-piece moment for West Bromwich Albion. They're very good at this. Darnell Furlong has a long throw, but Gavin Ward in the meantime is heading into the 6-yard area to try and sort out a little bit of pushing and shoving that's going on. Leif Davis in the heart of it. Asante there as well, as is Cedric Kipre. So all of those involved. And Furlong is in amongst the crowd where he's starting the run up for this throwing down this right hand side. It's level with the edge of the penalty area, away to our right hand side in front of that Smethwick end. It's going to be launched in by Furlong, and it's the second attempt, and this time he's stopped once more, and now again there's more movement, and the referee is calling out Leif Davis this time for a conversation with him, and also, it's just him actually, and it's his captain Morsey as well.
I'll tell you what, I don't know who wants this throw to go in more, Furlong himself or the steward that he's standing next to that he's almost hitting when he has that long run up. But it's the referee who's seeing things going on, and he's the one stopping play just as Furlong is about to throw the ball in. I think it's sometimes you've got to make a proper decision now if you're the ref. I either let it go or call a free kick or penalty, one way or the other.
Here we go again, take 3, Furlong to deliver again, still plenty of movement in and around that 6-yard area, and there it comes, launched into the edge of the 6-yard box, and in the end it's headed away, this time by Burgess, back in by the outstretched right boot this time of Furlong, the outside of his right foot, only as far as Phillips, edge of the penalty area, on his left foot, ball plays it into the penalty area, but it's gathered at the edge of the 6-yard box quite comfortably this time by the keeper, and Ipswich will try and get some composure. We've had 9 minutes at the Hawthorns, EFL Game Day Live on Talksport 2, and it's West Bromwich Albion 1, Ipswich Town 0.
Well, you can talk about following the international break. It can be difficult for some teams to really get going again. We've already seen that in the Premier League as well as the Championship. We're seeing it tonight with one team and not with the other. I think West Brom have started superbly and got even better. Ipswich looked like they wanted to get on the front foot, but they've been very much on the back foot since that goal.
As we said, they are unbeaten in the league away from home, but the last couple of results on the road, not as good. That 2-2 draw at Birmingham, 2-2 draw against Rotherham as well, and prior to those 2 games they'd only conceded 2 on the road all season, so they doubled that tally in those last 2 fixtures. They'll look to tighten that up, but they've already conceded here, and we've only been playing for 10 minutes. West Brom 1, Ipswich 0.
What they have got though, Adam, is character, and they have gone behind on more than one occasion this season. They've come back to win a game, so Kieran McKenna has no doubt that they will give as good as they get by the end of the 90 minutes.
They are unbeaten when they've gone down and behind 1-0 so far this campaign. Obviously that only game they did lose was that thriller against Leeds at home, which they lost 4-3, which was an absolute cracking game of football, and that just shows the mark of this side, who've arrived from League 2 out of the Championship wilderness for a little bit, but boy are they making their mark. But they've got some work to do here as they trail, as Phillips just goes down after the challenge from Williams, but he'd already played the pass. Referee waves play on. Down the right hand side it's Wallace, who does seem to have taken up this wide position. Diangana playing in the more central area for West Bromwich Albion. We did say they might be quite fluid in those front areas.
That's exactly what they're doing, and now they're switching back again, Diangana and Jed Wallace down the middle. So absolutely, that's what it's about. And it's very difficult to pick up those players when the number 10's coming out wide, the right winger's coming inside. Do you go with them? At what point do you let them go? At the moment, it's West Brom asking all the questions.
Nice bit of skill from Thomas Asante led to Cameron Burgess taking him down, and the free kick going West Bromwich Albion's way, midway inside the Ipswich Town half. 11 minutes played wide on this right hand side. It's West Brom coming forward with Diangana, and he's just run the ball out of play, and it will be a throw in which Davis will take midway inside the Ipswich Town half. Second in the table, 3 behind Leicester, of course, who've won against Watford earlier on today, so an opportunity to draw themselves level and keep the heat up on that Leicester side, who are the visitors here to the Hawthorns next Saturday afternoon. That game live on Talksport next Saturday, a 12:30 kickoff. As forward come Ipswich down this right-hand side again, but just forced back by the pressure that time of Bartley. And well, the throw initially, I think, given West Brom's way, but the referee says no. It's for the visitors, and they'll take the throw down this left-hand side. They're just not getting any time on the ball at the moment, are they, Ipswich?
No, they're not. No, with the ball, West Brom are passing it really quickly, crisply. Without the ball, they're not been given any time at all. And you know, I was interested. I said earlier about wanting to see Leif Davis. At the moment, he's not been able to get forward at all. And if anything, you know, there's been crosses coming in from the right-hand side as well. And when you're a full-back and you want to try and get forward and you're making a name for himself, yes, of course, you want to try and get forward as much as possible. But if your team's under pressure and actually crosses are coming in from your side, plug that hole first and foremost, and then you can try and get a little bit more forward.
Brandon Williams does well. Spent last season on loan at Norwich, of course. Maybe decided he liked East Anglia and made the move to Ipswich instead from Manchester United for this season, as Wallace tries to chase down that through ball from Kipre, but it's safely shepherded out of play by Burgess, and it will be a goal kick for Ipswich away to our right-hand side. We've not seen him since the 28th of October. Brandon Williams had a really good start to his loan spell, but injury then got involved, but he's back in that starting 11 today. 13 minutes played here. West Bromwich Albion leading Ipswich Town by 1-0 on Talksport 2. Long ball punted forward towards on the right-hand side. A run being made by Nathan Broadhead, but he's just run the ball into touch and out of play, and cuts a frustrated figure, because I know we're only 13 minutes in, but it has been a frustrating opening for Ipswich.
No, absolutely. I mean, look, West Brom have been the better side so far, as we've been talking about, but I do think that Kieran McKenna will be really disappointed in the manner of the goal that they've conceded. It's a corner. You know, the guy at the front post, in fact, even further than the front post, has got a flick on, and then it's gone into the back post, into the side netting. So, really disappointing way to concede, but at the moment they can't get hold of the ball.
Thomas Asante's dropped a little deeper here towards halfway and picks up the ball for Carlos Corberan's side. 25th of October 2022 he took the reins at West Bromwich Albion, their 8th manager in 5 years. This time, having tried the Sam Allardyces and the Steve Bruces, it was chosen to go for the hungry coach, who'd obviously done such a terrific job at Huddersfield as well, didn't he? I mean, that just kind of typified his credentials.
No, absolutely. And, you know, I think everyone saw the influence he had alongside Marcelo Bielsa at Leeds as well. So there's no doubt about it. He's got a great mind. Interesting to see how he'd do as a number one. I think he's been doing really well. And I think, as I say, this season, or over the last 13 months, considering what's gone on off the field, I think it's been, you know, pretty sensational, really. Just got to keep it going. Got to try and get into that top 6 where you know anything can happen come the end of the season in the playoffs.
Kind of feel as well, Scott, that with all the ownership stuff going on, January is going to be key for West Brom if they're going to get into those playoffs. They do need some reinforcements, but I think at the moment, financially, they're just not in a position.
No, and that's the question. We're going to see where, you know, if a takeover can happen, or if a company can lend the club some money that's going to take over the club, or even just Premier League loans, you know, something like that. Because I think, as I say, best 11, West Bromwich Albion best 11 can compete with anybody in this division, but there's been a lot of injuries, and the sign of a very good team and a promotion winning team normally is when you look at the bench as well. So it's really important to have those options coming off the bench.
Quarter of an hour gone here at the Hawthorns on Talksport 2, your home of the EFL. The Baggies leading Ipswich Town by 1-0. Early strike from Darnell Furlong.
I think it's really good actually looking at the bench today when you've got the likes of Maja, who's back, you know, Malombe, who played really well last season but can't get a game, you know, Sarmiento, I think as a big talent, will play a big part later on in the season, and John Swift back as well. So that's what I'm talking about, the options that they want to continue to having, and we'll see what happens in January, where they can stretch it even further.
Yeah, there's still no Daryl Dike, of course, due to injury, who always looks such an acquisition to this side, but they just can't keep him fit. It's Williams on that right-hand side for Ipswich Town, midway inside their own half. Not really able to strike the tempo they like to strike, both at home and away from home so far in this game. That's probably what's frustrating Kieran McKenna. Two very different approaches to coaching. Carlos Corberan is stretching his legs out and balling from the touchline down below. Kieran McKenna very calm, hands in pockets, very relaxed at this moment in time as his Ipswich side come on the attack down that right-hand side. And again, Kipres across to do the defensive work, and does it well, it'll be a throw right by the corner flag for Ipswich Town.
Yeah, you look at the two coaches and you'd be thinking that maybe it'd be Corberan's side that's losing because he's so sort of vociferous and, his body language is all over the place. But that's just the way he is. And Kieran McKenna, very relaxed guy. He knows what he's done. He's analysing the game now. He won't make any changes up until half-time. But if things carry on like this, he'll have to tweak something.
Throw on that far side, which Williams takes, gets it back as far as Wolfenden, because all the play is concertinaed in the last third of the West Bromwich Albion half. That's a lovely pass. Morsey inside the penalty area, tries to pull it back across the area, but it's very well defended in the end and out of play on that far side. And it will be a corner, a first of the game for Ipswich Town. Good work from Yokuslu.
Yeah, Sam Morsey's such a key player, isn't he, for this Ipswich side. So good to see him sort of getting forward. Yokuslu stayed with him. Just a little bit of concerted effort and pressure that Ipswich are putting on West Brom that they haven't done up until now.
And Morsey born in Wolverhampton, not too far away yonder, although we say it quite quietly around these parts. Here's the corner, taken short and then lifted over the bar. Well, it was a well-worked routine. No one picked up the runner, Jack Taylor, but he can't hit the target.
Definitely worked. You could see, just as he was running into the box to the side, other Ipswich players were running towards the goal to create that space, and the space was there. It takes some technique, though, to hit that first time top corner.
Cedric Keebre with a lung-busting run out of defence up towards halfway, but then just gives away possession because he can't find Thomas Asante with the final ball. And Ipswich will pick it up and have a chance to play out from the back with Burgess, who finds Davis midway inside his own half down this left-hand side. Forward he goes to Broadhead, but possession given back to the Baggies with Yokuslu. And now it's Phillips who turns and pirouettes and then charges forward down that left-hand side, skips past Williams, gets towards the byline. Brilliant tackle from Williams to win the ball back and deny Phillips the opportunity to cross. And he then finds Broadhead. And now they'll come forward with Chaplin down that right-hand side. The charge is on here towards the edge of the penalty area. Looks up as he tried to deliver the ball in Burns, but it's blocked out for a corner. And again, it's Townsend with a challenge, who I think is asking the assistant for an offside.
Yeah, I don't think it was offside. It was very, very close, but really good play in the transition. There's a bit of a gamble from Williams making that tackle once Phillips had gone past him, but he did win the ball. In the Championship, you see those kind of tackles, and it was really good 1-2 touch play. And in the end, Townsend got back, did very well indeed, but it's now starting to open up a bit, isn't it? West Brom still trying to go for it, and Ipswich now starting to get a little bit better from an attacking point of view.
Yeah, I think Keebre was the one who was playing Burns onside there. Townsend not looking across his line as that's swung to the near post, almost flicked on by Broadhead. They wanted the handball, the referee waved it away. It's back out on that right hand side. Williams will deliver the ball in, right footed towards the back post. Powerful header away by Kyle Bartley. Back in, Broadhead at the edge of the penalty area, tries to slip it through to Burns, but just too much on it in the end, and it goes out of play for what will be a goal kick away to our left-hand side for West Bromwich Albion.
Yeah, it was the right idea, wasn't it? But just completely overplayed. You need a really delicate touch in that situation, and Broadhead, he had the idea and the knowledge of knowing what he wanted to do, not quite the ability. And just on that corner, the ball bounced up, and Ipswich felt that it hit a West Brom arm. I don't think that was ever going to give a penalty, but a couple of Ipswich players wanted it, and Ipswich fans too.
Broadhead was in international duty, of course, for Wales in their two games against Armenia and Turkey, those two draws during the international break. Playoff game awaits Wales for a place at next summer's Euros, of course. See if they can join England and Scotland in those pots for the draw. Ipswich have possession at the edge of their own penalty area, and it's being brought forward by Wolfenden from the youth academy, of course, at Ipswich Town. Did learn his trade out on loan at the likes of Bromley and Swindon. Offside flags up as the ball's chipped through to the galloping George Hurst down this left-hand side, but that runs out of play for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. 20 minutes played here. It's West Bromwich Albion 1, Ipswich 0 on Talksport 2.
Yeah, that was close, that one, actually. Maybe just offside. But Ipswich starting to try and, really try and imprint what they want to do in terms of on the ball and going forward as well. Not seen much of Hurst trying to run the channels.
Not the best from Palmer. He's pumped that straight into touch on this near side, much to the frustration of the very animated Carlos Corberan. It's a throw for Ipswich Town about 10 yards inside the West Bromwich Albion half. Davis is taking his time, not happy with the amount of options being made available to him by the visitors, but that's a little cushion header. It's picked up by the skipper Morsey, helps on its way towards Chaplin, who then finds Burns in play space, edge of the penalty area, right-footed shot. I mean, he had Townsend for company, but he's fired it well over the top of the bar. That looked like a good opportunity was opening up.
Yeah, absolutely. It was a really good play, really good switch from Ipswich. A wonderful little flick on, which meant the Burns had the time to take a touch, and in the end, Townsend getting closer. Got to hit the target there. Got to get your head down, hit the target.
Such a clever player, Connor Chaplin. 17th start of the campaign, of course. He was so good in League One, and he's just brought all of that form and that touch and that grace into the Championship as well.
It was a lovely flick, wasn't it? I mean, first of all, you have to have the sort of periphery vision to know that someone's going to be free, and then obviously the ability to flick it on that way in the way that he did.
And there he is trying to sweep play out to this left-hand side, but it's well read this time by Furlong, and now Wallace is away down this right-hand side. He just opens up that stride and steams forward. Lovely little 1-2 between Diangana and Furlong, who then tried to help it on to Thomas Asante, who was at the edge of the D, but he just misplaced the pass by a yard or so, and it allowed Williams to break. And now the counter is on for Ipswich down the right-hand side. Chaplin's there. Keeper comes across with a challenge, and he wins the man over ball, and Moat can then bring it clear for West Bromwich Albion again.
There was only one winner there, wasn't there? Once Kipre realised he was going to make that challenge.
And now Phillips is in down the left-hand side, plays the ball across early, almost breaks to Thomas Asante, and ricochets off a Burgess clearance onto Thomas Asante and into the arms of Vladke away to our right-hand side. They've escaped with one there, Ipswich.
My goodness, that was almost Keystone Cops defending there. As West Brom get down the side, Wolfenden lets it go through his legs, and then Burgess tries to clear it, and it comes off Thomas Asante. And I'll tell you what, that could easily have just fallen either one for him to have a second touch to have a simple pass into the goal, or even past Vladke as well. In the end, it was straight to the keeper's arms. And as I say, poor defending from the two centre-halves.
Yeah, almost an absolute disaster away to our right-hand side. We're beyond the midway point of the first half. EFL Game Day Live on Talksport 2. It's West Bromwich Albion 1, Ipswich 0. Furlong's goal inside 5 minutes, separating these two sides. We've got more Championship action for you midweek on the Talksport network here on Talksport 2. Cardiff against West Brom is our game on Tuesday night. That's a 7:45 kickoff. And on Wednesday night, Leeds against Swansea. So teams in and around those playoff places in the upper echelons of the Championship feature in midweek. And that is, of course, in amongst a whole load of Champions League action for you. Lazio against Celtic is the 5:45 kickoff from the Champions League here on Talksport 2 on Tuesday, and PSG against Newcastle is on Talksport. Davis inside the penalty area, goes down under the challenge. Well, I don't know what he's snapping his thighs for. Kyle Bartley did enough there, and certainly nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, not a penalty, but that, Adam, was really good play from Ipswich, from the right back area back to the goalkeeper, passing it across the back, and then Leif Davis was able to get out. West Brom, they couldn't press them. So once Davis went out and then played that ball in behind for Chaplin, he was very nearly in. In the end, good defending from Bartley.
Here come Ipswich again through the centre, driving towards the edge of the box. It's again the work of Broadhead, but misplaced pass once more allows West Bromwich Albion to try and break and counter from deep with Furlong. Wallace on halfway, right hand side, former Millwall man, clips inside to Diangana, and now back to Furlong. Furlong's looking for the advance that had been made by Phillips, who'd made a good diagonal, but it was wasted time because Furlong chose not to play the pass, and instead they keep the ball. Yukozlu, dangerous ball given away. Here's Burns, he's got Hurst with him, tries to slip in Hurst, overhit the pass, and Parlour races out to collect inside his own area.
Oh, really poor play. That was a real chance, an opportunity for Ipswich there. And it was almost a 2-on-1, but overplayed with the pass. Have that composure in the final third.
That's what's lacking at the moment. Ipswich are getting these openings, but that final pass in the final third is just lacking, and they trail by a 0-0. Could lose ground, of course, on Leicester, and obviously they'd lose a little bit of ground on Leeds, who picked up a point last night. 7 clear at the moment. That's if things stay like this, but a long way to go. Townsend out wide on that left-hand side, picks up the advancing Phillips. Arms flapping with those gloves on the end, gets the ball inside the box to Townsend, who continued his run. It was a clever ball, and he bypassed Williams with it, but Ipswich pick it up and immediately look to counter. Real end-to-end stuff. Broadhead inside the centre circle, driving forward. He's got support out wide to the left-hand side from Davis. Davis is here, the man with the most assists in the Championship this season. This time he goes back towards Morsey, his captain. And now on halfway they find Burgess. Burgess forward into that midfield area where it's picked up by Jack Taylor. Goals in back-to-back games for Taylor, the signing from the summer, of course, from Peterborough. Wide on that right-hand side, they're on the attack again. Williams gives it out wide to Burns. Back to Williams. Happy to keep the ball. Wolfenden's 10 yards inside the West Bromwich Albion half. Into Morsey again. Patient build-up. Just pulling this West Bromwich Albion backline all over the place to try and create some room.
Yeah, and you can see once West Brom are able to get themselves set, it's almost 5 at the back. You know, Phillips goes into that left wing back, Furlong's on the right wing back, and then you've got the 3 centre halves in there. So they're very fluid, both with and without the ball.
Here they come again, Ipswich. They've worked back to halfway, still not giving away possession. Decent string of passes, and probably about a minute of having the ball here without West Bromwich Albion getting a touch. This time they go more direct, and it could pay off with Broadhead. No, the offside flag's up, and Hurst is penalised, and that will be a free kick for West Bromwich Albion.
And that's why you've got to give so much credit to Matt Phillips, because, you know, he's been a player of this level for many, many years, and you wonder whether he's going to be a West Brom player. But under Carlos Corberán, you know, he can be a left winger, he can be a left wing back, he can help out for the team. He's still that powerful runner. So without the ball, and when they're able to get themselves really, really set, he drops in there. Connor Townsend comes in and makes a third centre half, and Furlong is that right wing back as well. Very difficult to break down in that 5-3-2.
Under a lot of the previous managers, he kind of flattered to deceive. There were moments where he delivered, but then would drift out of games too often. Injuries were always an issue. But I mean, 398 league appearances in his career he's up to now. He's been around for a while, 32 years of age.
And how many could he have had but for those injuries? But, you know, whenever I've seen him play and he's been fit, a powerful, powerful runner.
Here's Thomas Asante, edge of the penalty area, does well to try and spin away from Wolfenden, but there was help on the way, and it was good help that arrived to help clear the ball in the form of Brandon Williams. Just for a moment, Thomas Asante looked like he had the beating of Wolfenden, who again is one from the academy, as we mentioned earlier. And has almost been an ever-present, just missed one Championship game so far this season. As right-footed Williams searches a ball out, but the accuracy's not there, and Townsend will just volley it back towards that Ipswich back line. Moat then gives it away. Sloppy play from both sides for a moment. Here's Burns now with the pace down the right-hand side to cause Townsend a problem. He's level with the edge of the penalty area on that right-hand side. A yard in from the touchline, gives it back to Williams, who comes to support. In those yellow boots, infield he goes to Morsey, the captain, who will drive across field again. Not at any pace or with any urgency, and he'll just drop it into Burgess again. Morsey then will try and turn away from Dean Garner, but he's being harried and hassled, and it gets the applause of the home fans. Dean Garner's work rate, because in the end Davies is forced back into Wolfenden, and it's back with Vladke away to our right hand side.
Yeah, good pressing from West Brom there. Not over committing, but every time there was a pass going forward that was more than 10 yards, there was always someone really, really tight that meant that Ipswich had to pass back and go back all the time. And in the end, actually, I think Davis was a little bit lucky with that pass. I think he meant it to the keeper and ended up going to Wolfenden. And Thomas Asante was right on him, but in the end, Wolfenden was able to go it back to the keeper.
And the applause comes from Carlos Corberán, because in the end, the press forced Burgess to play the ball straight out of play on this near side and allows Furlong a throw-in. Half an hour gone on Talksport 2. West Bromwich Albion 1, Ipswich Town 0. Short into Moat, back to Furlong, and then in the centre circle it'll be picked up by Townsend, who will look to drive forward down that left-hand side where Phillips is waiting for him. He'll collect the ball once more, back into Keepray. Another one of those players who's been in and out at West Bromwich Albion, depending on who the manager is. He was signed, of course, for big money from Wigan. I think Slaven Bilic wasn't that keen, as Vladke's got it inside his own penalty area. Good pressing here from West Brom. They're putting the heat on Williams in the corner. And in the end, Phillips concedes the throw on that far side.
Yeah, again, Carlos Corberán will be delighted with how his team are with and without the ball. Not giving Ipswich we talked about how well Ipswich have done this season, and not giving them any time on the ball to play the way that they want to play, at the tempo that they want to play. And it's been very much Albion deserving to be a goal up in this first half so far.
Yeah, Keepray making just his 31st league appearance for West Bromwich Albion today, despite signing back in 2020. He's had a fair few loan spells since he joined from Wigan. But now
You've had more appearances here, haven't you, Adam?
I probably have been here more often than he has over the last few years. That's very fair. But this time round, we're on appearance number 17 for the season. So Carlos Corberán certainly has faith in him now. And has got to work with him. They obviously lost Dara O'Shea in the summer. Off to Burnley, their captain. And Kipre, Ajayi, Peters and Bartley, the 4 centre-halves that Carlos Corberán's been relying on through this campaign so far. Throw in on the far side for West Bromwich Albion, which Townsend will take. Then cuts inside, but he's given possession away. Here's Hurst just outside the centre circle. To the right he goes to Taylor. Taylor will play a ball down that right-hand side. Burns is on the chase. Palmer's coming out for it. He'll get there first and he'll launch it into row Z on the far side. And it will be a throw-in on that far touchline for Ipswich Town. It's Adam Bridge and Scott Minto with you, the former Charlton fullback, of course, Chelsea as well. We've got 13 minutes to go here at half-time, where we'll review some of the Championship action from this afternoon. Leicester, of course, winning to put the 3-point gap between themselves and Ipswich at the top of the table. But a few shocks around. Southampton only drawing with Huddersfield this afternoon. Defeat from Middlesbrough down at Bristol City. Sunderland not having a good day either. We'll run through some of those games for you at half-time here at the Hawthorns. Here's Furlong. Oh, just tried to play it through to Wallace, but it was well read on that occasion by Davies, and it needed to be. Here's Burns in a central area this time. Up over halfway down this left-hand side. Hurst spins away from Furlong, gives it back to Davies, who's just on halfway. He'll be frustrated he's not been able to get further forward in this first 33 minutes of this game, Leif Davis. As we say, the stats are good, the assists are good, the performances have been good, but so far they've done enough to nullify it.
Well, I think it's a sign of how, West Brom have been on top of Ipswich, that the likes of Leif Davis, who loves to get forward, who say stats brilliant. I think up until this weekend, he didn't just create the most chances in the Championship, it was all 4 divisions. It goes to show how much he loves to get forward. What a great left foot. He's been very much on the back foot, and defensively, actually, he's not been able to stop some crosses coming in.
Poor bit of control by Williams on the far side. So throw in on that far touchline. We've got more live football for you on Monday night this week on the Talksport network. Premier League action is back on Monday. Fulham against Wolves is the big game. Danny Murphy, of course, alongside Sam Matterface and Adrian Durham for that one. That's over on Talksport. 8 o'clock kickoff on Monday night, exclusively live to National Radio. Here's Wallace on the right-hand side for West Bromwich Albion. Giving it back to Yakuslu. Infield he goes short to the roving Townsend, who's now found himself in a far more central area. He's been doing that more and more, and it's fairly fashionable nowadays to have fullbacks tucking into that midfield, isn't it? And you find them more often out of position.
Absolutely. In the second half, you're going to come round me and be on my left-hand side.
That could be the way. How would you have fancied that if you were asked, because it is the new thing, isn't it? The fullbacks tucking into that midfield, if they've got the ability to do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I played in midfield a few times for Chelsea, actually. So I'd like to think I'd have been okay with it, but it's not the easiest thing to do. And, it's from a fullback's point of view, when you've been used to having the game in front of you the whole time, suddenly receiving balls with back to play, it's not the easiest thing to do. So you need to be a kind of a half midfielder, but yeah, I enjoyed it.
Long ball over the top. And it's again offside against Burns, and it'll be a free kick to West Bromwich. Actually, it was interesting at lunchtime today, being able to see how the slight tweak at half-time from Jurgen Klopp in the game between Liverpool and Man City, where he actually kind of said to Trent, you're getting roasted by Jeremy Doku. I'll tell you what, you go and do the midfield bit and let's leave him to Matip. And they defended so much better when Matip was against Doku in the second half.
Yeah, well, the first half hour I was watching my daughter in a dance recital thing, and then after that I was in the car driving up here, so I was listening to it at Talksport with Sam, Piercy and Dean, and it was those three cracked me up. They're absolutely brilliant. But absolutely, if you're going to ask Trent, who can't defend but is brilliant going forward, to just stay as a right back and have someone like Doku who can run at you all day long, then you're not hiding to nothing. So he needed help. We know how good he is going forward, and I think the game summed him up really, didn't it? Struggled defensively and scored the equaliser.
You've got to have so much about you as a fullback now, as we're seeing here tonight with Townsend and the quality of Leif Davis as well. Here's a free kick for Ipswich Town, midway inside the West Bromwich Albion half. West Brom have been so disciplined so far in this game, as it's taken very quickly by Morsey, headed away by Kipre and picked up and taken down really nicely by Matt Phillips, the Scottish international, who drives across the midfield. He gets away from Chaplin, and then Wallace midway inside his own half. Well, that almost reached us. I was expecting a little header there, Scott, if it made its way up. A little cushioned header, but it's a throw on this near side for West Brom.
Yeah, I would have tried to bring it down, but it's been a few years since I actually kicked a ball. I love talking about it. I haven't kicked one for a very long time.
Furlong with a throw down this right-hand side. About just over 8 minutes to go to half-time here on Talksport 2, EFL Game Day Live, where it is West Bromwich Albion 1, Ipswich Town 0. They've struggled in their last few games away from home. It's funny that throughout the campaign, every time they've conceded first and gone 1-0 down in a game, they've still managed to get something from the game. That resilience that McKenna has put into that team.
Absolutely, and that's the character, resilience, call it what you will, that Ipswich do have, and he won't worry all the while it's 1-0. Obviously he wants his team to play a little bit better, but they are coming back into the game more than certainly the first 15 minutes.
Here's Hurst down this left-hand side, and again the combination of Wallace and Furlong do the job that's required, and we are seeing a little bit more of Wallace out on this right-hand side as well. I think that's another one of Corbrand's game plans for today, to have Dean Garner in that number 10 role a little bit more, and Thomas Asante does well to find Phillips. And now it's opening up. Wallace has got room on the right-hand side. If Furlong can find him, it's almost a perfect pass, but not quite. There was enough of a sniff for Leif Davis, who slides in and concedes the throw.
I could see exactly what Furlong was trying to do, play that really progressive forward ball, which meant that Wallace only had to whip it in first time, but by doing that it meant that Leif Davis was just able to get on the end of it. It's a really good tackle from Davis, and one he had to make and actually win the ball 100%, because by the time he went to ground he was inside the box.
Here comes the throw. Furlong is in amongst the crowd again, and by the steward. I hope he doesn't slip on those steps, because they are a little bit treacherous at times. Oh, short one into Townsend. He's now going to curl this in with his left foot. Oh, it's not the best of deliveries. Comfortably poked away at the edge of the penalty area, and Chaplin will try and clear first time for Burns to chase onto. Townsend takes it down. That's delightful. Took it down on the left. Little touch with the right onto Wallace.
Adam, let me tell you, they're horrible balls to bring down, because they're booted up in the air. You realise if your touch is bad...
Oh, Vladke's been caught there by Dean Garner. I think he's going to get a yellow card. Well, there was a moment where Vladke took the ball outside of his penalty area, then he pulled it back inside, and I think Dean Garner had committed at that point and just gave him one.
He didn't need to, though, Adam. He didn't need to. You know, once he brought it back inside, Vladke, he'd already done it. He went to ground. It's a silly challenge. It really is. He was always going to pick it up before he was almost trying to back out by the time he went to ground. But just that touch from Townsend there, you know, the ball's almost coming down with snow, and you realise your touch has got to be good, because if it's bad, the player that was running through, I'm not sure if it was Burns or perhaps even Chaplin.
It was Burns, yep.
You know, he would have been through on goal. 40 yards, one-on-one. It's a brilliant touch and pass in the end from Townsend.
Some of those are almost like a rugby up and under, aren't they? And you see everyone charging at you thinking, well,
I've got to catch this.
Yeah, there's no catching this time. It's just got to be on the toe. It was done very nicely, though. Here's Furlong. That wasn't done so nicely. He's tried to cushion that and put it straight out of play. Davis takes the throw quickly, so Ipswich trying to keep the tempo going despite trailing in this game. Just over 5 minutes to go to half time. It's been a really entertaining opening 45 minutes, end to end, without clear-cut opportunities at either end.
I agree. It's been almost a really intriguing game rather than a really exciting game. You know, two teams, you can see the quality they've got, the way they're wanting to play. Been really impressed with West Brom, I have to say, in this first half. But even Ipswich, you know, you can see that the players, the sort of style of play that they want, little patterns of play. But at the moment, I think the scoreline is just about right.
Dean Garner, little layoff on halfway. Thomas Asante just spins in and picks the ball up and takes the challenge from Davis and shrugs it off and tries to keep going, and it comes to Dean Garner, who's hugging the touchline. Oh, lovely slip ball to Wallace inside the penalty area. Wallace onto his left foot, onto his right foot, fires the shot across goal. Does he? No, he tried to pull it back, and it was cleared in the end by Wolfenden, and now Thomas Asante trying to get in as well, and Vladke will slide and gather. It just all opened up for Wallace there. What a pinpoint pass that was.
Absolutely wonderful pass from Dean Garner there. And Wallace, I just wonder if he's going to try and whip it into the far post where Townsend was. He came inside, he went back on the outside again, and by then you just have a shot. You know, aim for sort of the far post, and if the keeper makes a save, then maybe Townsend can follow it in. But he did neither really, and it didn't get past the two centre halves. But really good play again from Albion.
was going to say, a tight angle like that, you're thinking go across the keeper and see with power and see what happens, aren't you?
Make sure he can't hold it. You know, if he has to make the save, then it just spills out, and see if someone can follow it in. And Townsend was in a really good position. I mean, he got forward there and realised, you know, again, you can see that they've been coached this way. Your fullback is going to be, you know, there is in the 6-yard box when Jed Wallace is on the right-hand side. So really bold play, but good coaching as well.
The noise of the natives being fairly rested was what looked to me like a fairly fair shoulder-to-shoulder challenge, but was penalised by referee Gavin Ward. And it's going to be a goal kick away to our right-hand side for Ipswich Town. 3 minutes remaining in this first half on Talksport 2. EFL Game Day Live on your home of the EFL, of course, as that's played out to Broadhead, who's come into a central position this time. Now, fairly fluid up top as well, Ipswich. We mentioned about West Bromwich Albion earlier on, but Broadhead often finding himself in central positions. Burns does tend to be hugging that right-hand touchline, and I think that's going to be the route they may go down this time, because it's with Brandon Williams on that right-hand side. He's been forced back, though, by good pressure from 32-year-old Matty Phillips, who's certainly putting it on him into the corner. And in the end, it's Wolfenden who has to clear and put it into touch. And it's that kind of pressing, that kind of harrying, that's got West Brom on the front foot in this game.
Yeah, I listen, credit to Albion there, and we've mentioned them many times how well they pressed without the ball, but I mean, that's a simple ball down the line from Wolfenden, and I think it goes to show how sort of unsettled he is in the two centre-halves of the way that Albion have played in this first half.
Throw-in on that far side for the home team, who have only lost once here this season. Surprise defeat at the hands of Huddersfield. Just turning his way back inside there is Williams again, and Wolfenden from inside his own penalty area. And that desire to play out for the back is not compromised at any time and in any way, shape or form by this Ipswich Town side, even when it sometimes looks like it's about to get them in trouble. They've given it away again. They've got defending to do here. Townsend marauding down that left-hand side. Phillips is with him. Townsend continues his run, and Brandon Williams is on the floor and poking it out of play for a throw to West Brom, which Phillips will take quickly. Yukuzlu, second spell at the club, in the heart of that midfield for the Turkish player. Loved it here before, and back again this time, and he's closing in on his 50th championship appearance of this second spell. Down this right-hand side, it's Wallace on the touchline. Oh, Thomas Asante's gone outside him. Has he got the pace to get there and keep it in play? He hasn't. Just too much on that ball from the skipper. And with a minute to go to half-time, it's going to be a goal kick for Ipswich.
Yeah, and he's overplayed that, and it was a simple pass, but I really like the pass from Furlong. You know, that you can see they're wanting to try and look forward first. It's always, can I look forward? How can I play forward? And Thomas Asante was actually in, you know, the option of playing him up front, but he whipped it into Jed Wallace there. And again, by doing it with the pace that he's got, Ipswich don't always have the time to get back and get themselves in position.
It's been a while since these two, of course, faced each other. It's not been a regular fixture in recent years, as Wallace clips that one across, comes to Phillips on the half volley at the edge of the box. He drilled it hard and low, and it cannons off Williams and out of play for a throw on that far side. The West Bromwich Albion have lost one of their last 11 league games against Ipswich, and they're unbeaten in their last 6 here, so they have the mark over them, and they have the lead over them right now as we head towards half-time. Phillips' ball in is blocked out again by Wolfenden at the heart of that Ipswich Town defence. The bleach blonde hair to Williams, to Morsey, just outside his own box, plays it nicely to Taylor. He goes more direct down that right-hand side to Burns, who tries to bring it down, but it spins out of play, and there'll be a minute of added time at the end of the first half.
Right idea, good play between the two centre midfielders. There's a decent run down the right-hand side from Burns, but yeah, when he's coming over your shoulder, it's not always easy to bring that down, but it was the right ball, right opportunity, and if he had been able to bring that down, then Ipswich very much would have been on the front foot.
And it's going to be a throw-in on that far side for West Bromwich Albion, and we are midway through that added minute at the end of the first half. Final moment potentially here for the visitors. It's with the keeper. Radke gives it on to Burgess, who's midway inside his own half. Infield he goes to Morsey, the captain. Run's been made by Chaplin down the middle. Tries to find him. Keepray will chest it down and will bring it clear for West Bromwich Albion. Into the feet this time of Moat, who's been busy in the middle of the park with Yukuzlu without maybe offering too much going forward. But it's forced back, and it'll be gathered by Palmer inside his own area. He's closed down by Hurst, and it flicks up in the air. Hurst keeps it alive, but in the end puts it into touch. And the referee, Gavin Ward, will blow his whistle for half-time here at the Hawthorns. And an entertaining opening 45 minutes. And the two sides are separated by the goal from Darnell Furlong, his second of the season. Just 5 minutes on the clock when a corner from Matty Phillips was flicked on at the near post. It evaded everyone and went into the side netting on this left-hand side in front of that Smethwick end. It's been an intriguing end-to-end encounter without really creating too many goal-scoring opportunities. A few calamities maybe at times defensively from either side. But as we head into half-time, West Bromwich Albion leading by 1-0. The former Chelsea and Charlton defender Scott Minto is alongside me. And it feels like a fairly fair scoreline at half-time?
Yeah, I think so. I think West Brom started really well in the first 15-20 minutes. Very much on the front foot, created some opportunities. I mean, just before the goal, Jed Wallace whipped that fantastic ball in for Thomas Asante, and it bounced up, and I'm still not quite sure how he wasn't able to get on the end of it. But look, I think the goal itself, Kieran McKenna would be really disappointed. A set piece, a corner, the ball whipped in. Furlong got the header. What was he on that? Right on the corner of the 6-yard box, and still no one was able to clear it. You know, the keeper, Klagge, I think he was just thinking, okay, I've got to hold my position here, but in the end it's gone into the far post. So I think defensively a disappointing goal to give away, but Albion have been a better side in that first half.
And I was going to say, what do you think's been the key to that? I mean, to a man, they've looked very impressive. The front line's been interchanging a lot, and the high press has certainly caused Ipswich problems at times. But then when they've come under pressure at the back, they look very assured as well.
Do you know what I think? I think it's actually that because they've been better without the ball. I think they've pressed Ipswich really well, and where they've still been able to try and do their thing. And you mentioned about Alex Mowat, and he hasn't been sort of like outstanding, but the two centre midfielders haven't had to, because the front four have pressed really well without the ball, and they've looked dangerous with the ball. So sometimes it's a question of, okay, we're very much on top, we need to protect our back four, which is happening. And in the end, what we saw was Ipswich playing kind of long, straight balls, which is exactly what Albion want, especially with the centre halves they've got. So as good as they've been with the ball, Albion, I think the reason why they've been on top is because they've been so good without the ball, and they've not allowed Ipswich to play their style of play.
A few weeks ago at Birmingham City, they were 2-0 down at half-time, Ipswich. It was noticeable at the start of the second half that they were kind of 10 yards further up the field. And when I asked Kieran afterwards, when they come back to get the 2-2, I said, what did you do? What did you say? Because you could see you were further forward. He said, well, I wanted to get us further forward to play our way. And we weren't playing our way. We were too deep, worrying about them. Are we expecting a similar discussion to be happening in that dressing room right now?
Absolutely. Have you got an earpiece down to it right now and listening to it? Because I'm pretty sure that's exactly what would be said, Adam. Honestly, I think they have been dropping off too deep. I think the times where the back four have had the ball, they've quite often been sort of in the line of the 18-yard box or even deeper. And then that's why, because they've been under pressure, the pass isn't on, so they knock it long. If they start in a higher up position, then I think they can be very much more on the front foot. Now, they're going to want their forward players to play a little bit better than they did in the first half, because I don't really think, apart from maybe Connor Chaplin, who's shown some lovely touches, first-time touches, sometimes with his left foot, sometimes with his head. But apart from that, we haven't really seen the ending of Ipswich going forward. But if your starting position is in your own third, it's very difficult to suddenly make that 5, 6, 7 passes, or it's going to have to take that to go further forward. So absolutely, I think the starting position is going to have to be higher up. I think they have to play with a higher tempo. I'd like to see Williams get more into the game. Obviously, I'd like to see Leif Davis get into the game as well, because we know they're two fullbacks with a lot of class, but at the moment it's Albion very much on top.
It is indeed half-time then here at the Hawthorns, and if Ipswich want to keep the pressure on Leicester at the top, they're going to have to find something, because they trail West Bromwich Albion by 1-0.
Join the Football Collective.
EFL Game Day Live
on Talksport 2.
My granny visits Specsavers. No chance.
No, my daughter doesn't go to Specsavers.
You're having a laugh. My sister goes to Specsavers.
Specsavers? For my mum, it's out of the question.
Dad? Oh, he hasn't been to Specsavers in years.
If your loved ones can't make it into a Specsavers store, it's easy to arrange home visits. Our opticians are caring and highly trained. To find out if your loved ones are eligible, visit our website.
At NFU Mutual, we understand that running a business is expensive. That's why we don't charge admin fees with our trades insurance, so you can easily make changes when you need to. No wonder over 95% of our business insurance customers renew every year. With more than 295 agencies across the UK, we're closer to you, closer to your business, closer to what matters. For quality trades insurance to suit all sizes, search NFU Mutual.
John's on the road a lot, so he knows how dangerous wintry roads can be. And like the rest of us, he doesn't know what's around the corner. So, he's made sure his car is safe and ready. He's picked up a new set of wipers and a rear bulb from his local Halfords. And he's just found out he can click and collect a new battery or new brake pads and discs in an hour. Winter doesn't slow him down. Shop now at Halfords. Winter, bring it on. Subject to availability, T's and C's apply. Visit halfords.com for details.
Today this could be...
At Go Outdoors, our Black Friday event is now on, with our best ever deals on winter gear. Hurry, offer ends soon. With members card £5, T's and C's apply. Go Outdoors, discover freedom.
30 million people around the world are just like me.
I value knowing that my investments
are all in order.
I value having low fees so I can keep more of my returns.
And I value that my investment firm has its clients'
best interests at heart.
Join the 30 million investors around the world who value getting Vanguard value.
Took the words
right out of my mouth. Vanguard. Value to investors. When investing, your capital is at risk.
Roll out that Christmas drinks trolley with Morrison's. Get 1 litre bottles of Tanqueray gin and Absolute vodka for just £19 each with more card exclusives. Down from £22 each. More Christmas cocktails, anyone? Majority of stores subject to availability. Excludes Scotland and Wales. Max cap applies. See in store and online for details. Ends 26th of November. Please drink responsibly.
When it comes to that reliable football shirt, new Persil Ultimate Active Clean delivers outstanding stain removal plus 14 days of freshness. It's also suitable for quick and cold washes, helping you save energy. So buy Persil Ultimate Active Clean in store now. Quick and cold wash at 20 degrees C, 60-minute cycle.
And here they come. What a magnificent sight. Yes, it's live British horse racing on the radio, and Talksport 2 have got it covered. Wednesday afternoon from 1, Talksport 2 will bring you full coverage and live race commentary of all the action. Direct from Hereford. Saddle up for live British horse racing on the radio. Download the Talksport app and swipe left. Or ask your smart speaker to play Talksport 2 to follow all the action. Wednesday afternoon from 1 on Talksport 2.
It's the totally immersive football experience.
Tucked into the near post.
EFL Game Day Live
on Talksport 2.
And we're off and running, and it's the Baggies who get us underway. Rightfully swung over, flicked on and in at the near post. It's been turned home by Darnell Furlong. And West Bromwich Albion have their early lead.
Great start for the home side.
Lovely ball from Wallace into Thomas Asante. He's got Phillips to his left-hand side, tries the shot. Oh, it's beaten away by Vladke. You're listening to EFL Game Day Live on Talksport 2, where at half-time it's West Brom 1, Ipswich 0. We'll have full second-half commentary with myself and Scott Minto to come. But time to look back at some of the key championship action today. And Leicester moved 3 points clear of Ipswich at the top of the table with a 2-0 win over Watford. After the game, Leicester boss Enzo Maresca spoke to Talksport 2's Mike McCarthy.
I think take the chance. We create many chances. We missed at the beginning, but overall we completely deserve the 3 points and win the game.
From the first half to the second, were there things that got better for you in the second half in terms of what you created?
No, in general we usually always have some more chances in the second half for the reason why it's the way we play, but also I think second half we improve a little bit the tempo in terms of when the ball was out we start quick, free kick we start quick, the quality of the pass was better, so I think for me the reason why it's just that.
Without Harry Winks today as well, how reassuring is it? You know, any championship side without Harry Winks in it would suffer, but you've come through it today and you've got the 3 points.
Yeah. Playing in the same way we want to play. I think Amsa was unbelievable, Ricardo inside was unbelievable, but overall I was happy with all of them.
And you don't strike me as the sort of man that would panic over 2 defeats, but having 3 points under your belt tonight, does that feel an awful lot better?
Yeah, it's always good and nice to win games, to be honest.
And Jamie Vardy as well, you know, off the bench, such a weapon in the Championship. I mean, how much can you rely on him between now and the end of the season to get you through these sort of moments where the games are so tough.
Yeah, Jamie has been unbelievable today, but I just said I was also happy with Kele in the way he was playing. We have also Daka that in this moment is not on the squad. He was not with us tonight, but also Cannon. So we have option.
Whilst Preston remain in the final playoff spot despite a 2-1 home defeat against Cardiff. After the game, manager Ryan Lowe gave his assessment to Talksport 2's Cameron Pope.
I thought the lads were fantastic till the 96th minute when we conceded a sloppy goal. They were putting the pressure on us. When we've got 11 men, we feel comfortable in the game. And going in 0-0, and thought we were good for the 0-0, and then coming out and getting that goal, and then you think, okay, we're on the front foot now, we can go and get another, and lo and behold, we lose a man, which then obviously hurts you. And I thought the lads were brilliant, but we know we need to do better in them little certain situations, but we withstood most pressure from them. And when you look at the goals back, the 2 sloppy goals, when we've kept them at arm's length in terms of their quality and stopped players getting on the ball. But there was a moment where it's ricocheted in their post, and now it's got in, but I'll have to have a look at it. And then the second one, we've left a man unattended at the back stick. But look, we had some tired legs out there as well, because it was playing large parts of that game with 10 men. But it's football, it's the Championship, we need to dust ourselves down and we have to go again.
And Liam Manning won his first home game as Bristol City manager following a 3-2 victory against Middlesbrough at Ashton Gate. Despite the 3 points, Manning wants his players to keep their feet on the ground.
Just it's about not getting carried away now. It's about making sure that you follow it up. So obviously, look, lads are on a decent little run themselves, started it, and it's about now don't get carried away, stay level, stay calm, stay focused, and get ready to go again.
How was your first taste of Ashton Gate?
Yeah, I loved it. I thought the fans were incredible. I thought the energy, the atmosphere definitely helped us get over the line today, which is important. And again, you feel it at times, the frustration with certain bits, but we're learning as a team. I think that's the biggest bit. The players have, feel like I've been here a little while now, despite it being 3 weeks. It's only the second game, so we have to, I'm quite clear we're going to go for a process where sometimes it doesn't look right, sometimes it's a bit messy, but what the important bit is you suck out the learning from the game and make sure that, whether it be, we build up, not going back too quick, or how we exploit the depth, or, I think that they're the key bits. But the pleasing thing, I thought we carried a threat throughout, to be fair.
Certainly the character to drag themselves back up from 2-2 must be something you're really pleased to see.
Yeah, the togetherness is there in the group. A terrific group of lads that have, responded really well to some of the information that we've given them, and I think you saw that the block that we showed towards the end of the game is going to be important at times. So it's understanding how what phase of the game you need to live in and when, and making sure that everybody's aligned and everybody's all in on it, and that's what you saw today.
Yeah, big win for Liam Manning today as Bristol City boss, of course, over Middlesbrough at 3-2. Every Saturday afternoon in the Championship is a big afternoon, none bigger than for Wayne Rooney today, beating Sheffield Wednesday, his first 3 points as Birmingham City boss, a 2-1 victory for them. We've just heard, obviously, about Bristol City 3, Middlesbrough 2. It was Huddersfield 1, Southampton 1. I think Southampton will feel that's dropped points. Leicester 2, Watford 0, of course. Millwall 0, Coventry 3. Big win for Mark Robbins' side there. Norwich 1, Queen's Park Rangers 0. Plymouth 2, Sunderland 0. Tony Mowbray's side going down there. Preston 1, Cardiff 2. Stoke 0, Blackburn 3. Good win for Blackburn. And Swansea City 2, Hull City 2. And of course here at the Hawthorns it remains West Bromwich Albion 1, Ipswich 0. We've got more Championship action, of course, for you coming during the week. We are your home of the EFL on Tuesday night, a packed night of action across the Talksport network. We start here on Talksport 2 with Lazio against Celtic in the Champions League. That's live from 5:45. Scott Minto, the man who's alongside me tonight, will be with Joe Shannon for that one. And then we're into Championship action. West Brom once more, they take on Cardiff this time away from home. That's our 7:45 kickoff, while over on Talksport it's Paris Saint-Germain against Newcastle. We'll be live in the Parc des Princes with Alan Pardew, of course, on commentary alongside Sam Matterface and Adrian Durham. They will be in Paris on Tuesday evening. And then more Champions League and Championship action for you on Wednesday. Galatasaray against Manchester United is our live game at 5:45 here on Talksport 2. And then we will follow that up with Leeds against Swansea in the Championship, and then we'll go around the grounds with kickoff with Adrian Durham over on Talk Sport. On Thursday night it's Topola against West Ham in the Europa League. That's again a 5:45 start here on Talksport 2. And on Friday night, England against the Netherlands in the Women's Nations League. We've got that live for you here on Talksport 2 as well. And if you're looking in your diary and thinking, what am I doing Saturday? Well, whatever you're doing, make sure you download the Talksport app and take us with you. We have a feast of football on Saturday the 2nd of December, beginning here at the Hawthorns at 12:30 on Talksport, that one. That's West Bromwich Albion against Leicester. Over on Talksport 2, it will be Alfreton against Walsall in the second round of the FA Cup. Can Alfreton spring a surprise? Of course, we've got Game Day Live with Adrian Durham, Scott Minto and Ray Parler throughout the afternoon with all the goals as they go on Talksport. And I'll be up at Turf Moor for Burnley against Sheffield United, which after today's results, both losing, of course, in the Premier League today, is a huge game. That's our Talksport 2 exclusive on Saturday afternoon. And then at 8 o'clock on Saturday night, we've got more exclusive Premier League action for you. Newcastle, big winners against Chelsea today, against Manchester United. What an absolute feast of football across the next 7 days. And the man alongside me is appearing in it quite a lot, Scott Minto.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to Lazio Celtic next up for me. And then, it's Brentford next Saturday. So, loving it.
Here we go. Both teams are out for the start of the second half. No changes then at half-time. You've just been catching up with your former West Ham colleague, Ian Pearce.
I have. Ian Pearce, obviously, is head of recruitment here at West Brom. Doing a really good job. I was just saying about how intelligent he looked with those glasses. I think I need them now.
I used to enjoy watching him play, to be fair. He was a no-nonsense centre-half, wasn't he?
No-nonsense centre-half, who you'd stick up front if you needed a goal, and he'd get one.
Very much so. Here we go then. Everyone's out. Gavin Ward's happy. There's a few too many balls flying around the pitch, probably for the referee's liking. And the fans slowly making their way back after their half-time refreshments. So as I say, no changes. Interesting to see how this second half develops from Kieran McKenna. Certainly in the game at Birmingham City, we saw Marcus Harness come on and make a huge difference. And Freddie Ladapo as well. Harness got a couple of goals that day. So I'm sure he'll be in the minds of Kieran McKenna all the time that West Bromwich Albion are leading in this game. We're off and running. And they're attacking the Smethwick end away to our right-hand side in the second half of the visitors. And immediately it's the blue and white striped shirt of West Bromwich Albion on the attack. Thomas Asante is fouled by Burns. And it's going to be a free kick on halfway for Carlos Corberan's side. So with no changes then, it's Palmer in goal, Furlong, Bartley, Kipre and Townsend, Yukuzlu and Moat, the two central midfielders, Diangana, Wallace and Phillips in free roles really behind Brandon Thomas Asante for West Bromwich Albion. As for Ipswich Town, Radke's in goal. It's Williams, Wolford and Burgess and Davis across the back. Morsey and Taylor in midfield with Burns, Chaplin and Broadhead providing the support to Hurst. And here is Burns on this right-hand side, just off the angle of the penalty area. Morsey goes in early towards the back post, and it has to be defended. I'm not sure it was defended convincingly by Kyle Bartley, but he got something on it and concedes the corner on the far side.
No, the ball was so well put in first time. It really was. As the ball came back to him, Sam Morsey, it's almost like a Steven Gerrard kind of cross in between the defence and the goalkeeper. And Bartley did well in the end because it was a horrible one to deal with.
Taylor lifts that one in towards the edge of the 6-yard box. He comes out to Morsey again, who drives the shot, and it's blocked and deflected. And now Wallace will try and break through the centre circle. He's looking for support, and Phillips is coming. Diangana's there too. Thomas Asante onto Diangana inside the box. Must shoot, must score. He does, off the inside of the post. Brilliant counter-attacking goal for West Bromwich Albion, and they've struck early in the second half, just like they did in the first, and they've doubled their advantage over Ipswich Town, whose unbeaten away record is well and truly on the line. It's West Bromwich Albion 2, Ipswich Town 0.
What a superb counter-attacking goal. If ever you want any textbook, any coaching manuals to show exactly how to quickly counter-attack from a set piece from the opposition, that is exactly how to do it. Great little play, running with the ball, knowing when to pass it, when to have that second, third, fourth touch, or when to play it first time. And in the end, Diangana, because of the timing of his run and the timing of the pass, he was able to in the end just pass it in. It hit the post. Weren't quite sure whether it was going to go in or out. In the end, it did go over the line. And that is a wonderful goal from Albion. And I'll tell you what, It's a really, really important goal in the context of this game, because 1-0, start the second half, Ipswich would have felt that they can get back into this. 2-0 is going to be very difficult.
He scored in the wins against Queen's Park Rangers and also Coventry, and he's hit the target again today, a third of the season for Grady Diangana. They were his first goals since February, when he netted those in the recent good run that West Brom have been on, and he's added to it again today. Another player with a big price tag, one of the few at West Bromwich Albion with a big price tag, who's now starting to deliver. Here's Morsey looking for a response. They want a handball, it's not given, and it's behind for a corner away to our left-hand side.
And do you know what Ipswich will say, as you've already mentioned, they were 2-0 down with, 11 minutes to go against Birmingham, and they came back. But I just get the feeling that this is a different side, a different level to that Birmingham side as well.
How many times can you go to the well as well? That's the question, isn't it? Here's the corner, left-footed towards the near post. It's defended this time by Furlong and away by Wallace, who was at the heart of that breakaway for West Bromwich Albion. And it's a throw on the far side to Ipswich. Obviously, they came back to get a draw as well against Rotherham. That finished 2-2. The 2-2 against Birmingham City as well. We mentioned earlier, when they go one down, they've not lost this season. Maybe today's the day. On halfway, Wolfenden trying to inspire them. All in orange, kicking from left to right in this second half, but trailing now by 2-0 here on Talksport 2. And again, it's a dreadful pass from Burgess. He's trying to lift a simple ball down the left-hand side, and he's put it straight into touch.
But again, what we were talking about at half-time, and the way that West Brom are pressing, it's making Ipswich almost go long, and they're not always used to doing that. The two central midfielders aren't able to get that extra half a yard to show that they can get the ball off the back four. So in the end, the back four just going long, and sometimes it's a straight pass. It's not end up being straight, it's ended up just kicking it into touch, because they are under so much pressure.
Well, if you're Enzo Maresca and you're Leicester and you're looking at this performance from West Brom, you're probably not looking forward to next Saturday lunchtime, a game that's live on Talksport. West Bromwich Albion against Leicester. West Brom could go up to 6th in the table with a victory tonight. Of course, they've got Cardiff in midweek as well. Another game live here on Talksport 2. And there's a foul and a free kick.
I'll tell you what, Adam, I'm looking forward to it.
Should be a cracker. Next Saturday lunchtime on Talksport, 12:30 kickoff. Both got games obviously before then as well, in midweek, because the Championship is relentless. There's no doubt about that. You just come back from your international break and it's Saturday, Tuesday.
Well, that's it now, isn't it? September, October, November international breaks. Now it's, handbrakes off and go for it.
Well, I was looking through the fixtures and thinking to myself, I'll write the next 5 down, and I realised I'm only kind of in mid-December by the time we get the next 5 done. I hadn't even quite got as far as the big game on Boxing Day. Ipswich against Leicester, of course. That's clipped forward this time by Chaplin, up in the air, and it's a really poor header from Furlong, but Kipre does the mopping up of that inside the centre circle. Thomas Asante goes down. The other thing West Brom will be looking for here, of course, is the fact they've kept 4 clean sheets in their last 5 home games. We talked about when he arrived, he tightened them up at the back. Well, they've just gone on a little run, particularly here, where they just don't concede goals.
Yeah, I can tell you from personal experience, once you do go on a little runs like that, it is in your mind. You do want to make sure that you keep those clean sheets going, and I'm not saying that necessarily start a record.
That's a brilliant clip down that right-hand side by Yukozlu, and into Wallace. Wallace across the face of goal. Oh, Phillips, how's he missed? How has he missed? He's 3 yards out. He's hit it with the outside of his right foot with a gaping goal, and he's hit it sideways. It's almost gone out for a throw. It's unbelievable.
Well, you asked the question, how's he missed? And you answered it as well, because he's tried to do with the outside of his right foot instead of waiting for it to come onto the inside of his left foot. He's obviously predominantly right-footed, but just the body shape, just move it a little bit and then just let it hit the instep of your left foot. Instead, despite you being right-footed, it's still a very difficult skill to do with it coming so quickly, to try and get it perfectly to go straight in. It looks an absolute howler, and it is, but that's because he made the wrong choice of which foot to stick out.
I feel I was being generous with 3 yards. It's nearer 2. Dear, oh dear. Well, let's hope that doesn't come back to haunt them. 52 minutes played. Should be 3-0, but it's only 2 to West Bromwich Albion.
I mean, that would have been game over. You talk about resilience and character of Ipswich. There's no way they're coming back from 3-0 down. It will be interesting if Ipswich were to get the next goal.
Certainly will. We got a problem on the far side for Ipswich Town. The skipper, Connor Chaplin has gone across. Morsey's gone into the penalty area. Just trying to see who the player is that's down. And I think it may be Burgess, was it? I think it was Burgess. It's a throw-in on that far side. Bit of a problem here for Darnell Furlong in that he can't actually go into the stands to launch this one because there is a advertising hoarding, unless he fancies hopping over it, of course. He's still giving himself a little run up though. It's level with the edge of the penalty area on the right hand side. He'll be looking to cause danger. He'll be looking for Wallace, who's made the run into the box, but he doesn't. He goes long instead towards Bartley, who it hits. I don't think he knew much about it. Wallace gets it back into the danger zone. Keeper comes and it's spinning around in the box. It bounces down for Phillips, who lifts it goalwards, and it's gathered that time by the keeper inside his 6-yard box.
Yeah, Hackley wasn't very commanding there, was he? You know, it's very difficult with so many numbers and bodies in the box, and if that's the case, you're not able to catch it, then you still come through and get a big punch, and if you have to take some players out, including your own teammates, then so be it, but you didn't get anywhere near that.
Williams on the right-hand side being forced back here by Matt Phillips, who's pressuring him all the way, and in the end Wolfenden can just lump it to halfway. Keepray helps it on. It's Keepray again winning the little flicked header, then Townsend on towards Thomas Asante, who's done well. I don't think he meant to, but he ended up flicking it over his own head and then having to spin round and pick up possession. Moat is doing the hard work in midfield to win it. Phillips down this left-hand side. Are we going to see him use his left foot this time? No, we're on his right foot, his favoured foot, into Diangana. Here's Townsend. Yukuzlu looks again forward to Phillips on this near touchline. Townsend's gone inside him, but Phillips goes direct to that far touchline, but he's not quite picked out the intentions of Jed Wallace there. Not quite on the same wavelength, and it's out for a goal kick away to our left-hand side.
Well, look, we've been very complimentary about him in the first half. I'm not quite sure anyone would have been on that same page of that shot, crossfield pass. And look, you know, the positive is he was in the right place at the right time. The negative, obviously, it was a bad choice of which foot to use, and goes to show which foot he really favours, and maybe doesn't trust his left foot at all, but still been a very good player and helping, you know, West Brom today. Again, we talked about the press, how well they're stopping Ipswich, and Matt Phillips is certainly doing a job on his side.
You've just got to get something on it, haven't you? He could have almost got anything on it. He could have thrown his entire body at it and it would have just got in the back of the net.
Adam Wright, come on, you and I get down after the game. I'm going to whip the ball in. I want to see how you react to that.
We're game for that. That's fine. Here's Tom. I've got balls in the back of my car. That's fine.
Let's do it.
Thomas Asante was there trying to pick that one up on halfway. Good play by Moat out wide to the right-hand side, where it's helped on its way towards Jed Wallace, who's just tucking himself a little bit deeper at this moment in time because Furlong had pushed on ahead down that far touchline for West Bromwich Albion. 10 minutes gone in the second half on Talksport 2, your home of the EFL, and it's West Bromwich Albion 2, Ipswich Town 0. Is that first away defeat of the season coming for Kieran McKenna's side? They're under pressure again here. Here come West Brom down that left-hand side here. Tempted pass to Phillips is acrobatically stopped by Williams, who looked like he'd lost his footing at the same time, but did incredibly well. And then Chaplin finds Burns, and it's back with Williams again inside his own half.
You know what? One player who I feel has played well for Ipswich is Connor Chaplin. I think he's found spaces, he's known when to play first time or second time as well. The touch came up. He still got the ball out wide. He tried to get the ball in behind. In the end, Burns just came back, and I think everyone else has not been quite on his level today.
He's a 7 every week, isn't he? And occasionally he knocks in the 8, 9s
He's
and 10s.
He's a clever player. He's football intelligent, and you can see that.
Left-footed ball swung into the West Bromwich Albion penalty area that time by Davis, but it's easily gathered by Palmer, who comes to the edge of his 6-yard box to take it. And a chance for West Bromwich Albion to clear away from that right-hand side. Academy graduate Palmer. They had real goalkeeping issues here over obviously the departure of Sam Johnson when he left. It left them with David Button, and well, Steve Bruce very quickly lost patience with Button and some of the errors he was making. Palmer got his opportunity and he's made the shirt his own. Down that right hand side, racing forwards, the sliding challenge is a good one on this occasion. The charge was on from Yukuzlu, and he's won his team the corner. And it's good work from Jack Taylor. Tracked the run, midfielder to midfielder, but a chance for West Brom on that far side.
Yeah, it is good play, good track. And I just wonder whether he needed to kind of dive in. I don't think Yukuzlu really wanted to be in that right wing spot, but then I don't think Jack Taylor really wanted to be in that left back spot. So He kind of like had made the challenge. He was already tired. Okay, I'm going to go to ground and try and make that tackle there.
As we mentioned, it's cold here, and after that run, Yukuzlu is certainly breathing out some air that you can see. There's no doubt about it. Here's the corner. Phillips, right-footed, gets it across. And it's controlled at the edge of the penalty area. We know he can hit them. Not one of his better efforts, that one, as it skims away into the Bromwich Road end away to our left-hand side. And it'll be a goal kick once more for Ipswich Town as they try and find a way back into this game as we approach the last half hour, trailing here by 2-0. And no surprise, Harness is down there as one of the substitutes that warming up. I think we're going to see the introduction of Luongo as well, potentially too.
He's got to make changes, and I'd say as soon as possible. I don't think they've really created anything in this second half. You know, as we said before, not only have West Brom scored, but should have made it 3-0. Ipswich just not able to get the ball on, able to play the way that they want to play, and that's down to West Brom and how well they're pressing without the ball. McKennahan needs to make changes because at the moment this game's just drifting now.
Furlong with a throw down the right hand side gets it into the goal scorer of the second, Grady Diangana, Wallace, and Furlong tries to get through. He wants an obstruction, but not interested, says Gavin Ward, and it's going to be a goal kick. And they always play it short. Ipswich Town, the two centre halves go either side of the 6-yard box. Radke's in the middle, and it'll be played to him onto his favoured right foot, and he'll have an opportunity to play it. And this time, rather than passing it out, he goes long, and it was towards Hurst, who didn't quite get up enough to win the header.
But that's a waste though, Adam. I mean, you know, you're all coming back from a goal kick and wanting to play it, looking as if you want to play it short. Goes to the keeper, who knocks it long.
Oh, there's a challenge on Townsend. Williams is going to get a yellow card for that. Left a little bit on there.
Yeah, you know, knocks it long, and even if Hurst was going to win the ball, there's no one around him there at all. It's completely giving the ball away. And then that challenge from Brandon Williams, that just shows an absolute frustration at the way this game's gone. Obviously, he's struggling a little bit in terms of match fitness. He's coming back into the first team, but he has just looked half a yard late each time.
And here come the changes. As expected, Jack Taylor is the first to depart. And we're also going to see Nathan Broadhead disappear too. And Massimo Luongo is coming on. And no surprise, Marcus Harness as well, who's been in that good goal-scoring form. As we mentioned, 3 goals in his last 4 league games for Harness coming off the bench. He's only made 2 starts this season, but this is his 13th substitute appearance. So Broadhead, who's had a quiet game, he's gone. And Taylor as well. And the first 2 changes from Kieran McKenna, and no surprise because his Ipswich side are trailing here with half an hour remaining by 2-0.
Yeah, absolutely, and he's got plenty of time, hasn't he, to get those 2 goals. You know, he got 2 in the last 11 minutes against Birmingham, so he's got half an hour to do it here.
As a player, though, if you are scoring like that and you're in decent form, to only get 2 starts, that must be a little bit frustrating. What more do I need to do, Gaffer?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there are some players who seem to be better being impact players, and I think nowadays, a bit like rugby, you know, it's not necessarily about who starts. It can be quite often about who finishes.
The finishers.
And you know, he is a finisher. So, look, as I say it obviously tongue-in-cheek. He's got plenty of time to score 2 goals. I think it's going to do well to score 1 here, the way how well West Brom are playing. Again, not just with the ball. And I must have said it 10 times today, but without the ball, how well organised they look.
Long throw. Wallace is going to try and chase it down. I think Burgess this time will manage to shepherd it out of play. Little couple of hands in the back from Wallace then to send Burgess careering towards the advertising hoardings. Did you used to do that occasionally? Just, you know, you see the advertising hoardings, think, oh, I'll just give him a little shove.
I'd get pushed. I'd be the one getting pushed into it, being the left back, but you take it.
Yeah.
My dad still thinks you shouldn't be allowed, even back then, to shield the ball off, saying that's a foul in itself.
Well, it is done very well at times nowadays. I get frustrated when I watch that, I won't lie.
Don't side with him.
Yeah, throwing on the far side for West Bromwich Albion. They lead 2-0 here on Talksport 2. As we mentioned earlier, we got them in action again midweek. Tuesday night. We are, of course, your home of the EFL. Nobody loves the EFL like we do. FA Cup next weekend for you as well. Premier League action, European action during the week. You don't need to go anywhere else. Just download that Talksport app. And then swipe between stations. You also get a list of all the commentaries as well, so you can know when your team's on or games you might want to listen to. get downloading now. You really don't need anything else, but particularly as we approach Christmas and you get dragged out shopping, because it's bound to happen. Headphones, app, it'll sort you out, I promise.
Absolutely.
Particularly when it gets to sales time. Boxing Day, we got a feast of football. Trust me. Here's Phillips on a good run here. Sips that one through towards Thomas Asante, who's run tirelessly tonight for West Bromwich Albion, but the keeper will gather that comfortably inside his own area.
You know, the way that West Brom are playing, and I'm not necessarily saying that it looks like they're the team that's 2-0 down, but they're the team that's still trying to keep up that pressure. And Ipswich is not able to get out the half.
Luongo with a through ball for Burns to try and chase down this right-hand side, but again, gathered by Palmer, immediately bowls it out up to halfway, and Townsend's there, and Wallace has got his skates on, but Townsend chooses to take it alone. I thought an early ball was coming then into space, but it's Phillips who's harried and hassled by Burns, and in the end he's fouled. I mean, he's a big man to take over and to take down. He did go down a little bit easily, but it was always coming.
Well, he's a lot bigger than Burns, but once he got that pull, then he did absolutely the right thing, the professional thing. Just take the sting out of the situation, calm it down, waste 30 seconds. You know, West Brom in full control right now.
I wonder how long it'll be before we see a little cameo from John Swift coming back from injury. He's got 6 goals in his last 10 games, but last appearance was against Birmingham City back on the 6th of October due to injury. I'm sure we'll see him feature for a few minutes tonight, and for the way this lot are playing, there's no rush to get him back into first team action. Here's Phillips charging away down the left-hand side, taking on Williams, tries to cross it, and Williams blocks it out for a corner down this left-hand side.
Yeah, they just look so strong. They look better in every department, don't they? You know, Matt Phillips obviously was a really bad miss there, but hasn't bothered him too much. He's still getting on the ball, trying to get down the wing, use his pace, use his strength. Been an absolute nuisance in that Ipswich right-hand side.
Here's the corner. This time it's going to be a left footer, so it's going to be delivered by Alex Mowat, restored to the starting 11 today, only his 8th start of the campaign, but he's on corner duty down this left-hand side, so an out swinger, and it's not the best of deliveries, to be fair. It's just pumped back up in the air, but he volleys it back into the danger zone, and it's cleared away by the outstretched boot of Wolfenden, and now comes out to Phillips on this near touchline. Little dancing Phillips, left-footed ball played in, Wolfenden again will clear, and it's out of play for another corner. And this time I think they're going to go for the right footer.
Yeah, and all the time it's West Brom keeping the ball in Ipswich's final third. As I say,
it's a throw, actually.
Yeah, Ipswich not able to get out at all.
Into Phillips, taken short by Townsend this time, who then goes beyond him. Phillips is forced back. Good pressure from Chaplin. Yukuzlu. Now on this near side, Moat. Yukuzlu again. Wallace is in lots of space on that right-hand side. I think Yukuzlu spotted him but didn't feel confident enough to play the pass. Townsend, Yukuzlu, Diangana into the penalty area. Townsend was waiting. He's just waiting for the ball to run to him, and Burns read it and managed to intercept. Burns under pressure from Diangana gives it away. Moat, angle of the box, left-hand side, out wide to Townsend on this near touchline. Here's Diangana, back in field again to Moat once more. And now he chips it forward. Alex Moat controls nicely. Then he flicks it over the top. Diangana had been taken down at that point. Coming together with Morsey. Referee waved it away. And instead, West Brom win it back. Just eager to take it off the toes of Burns.
Brilliant pressing again. Giving Ipswich no chance whatsoever at all to get out of their half.
Thomas Asante just trying to get the other side of Williams. Williams gets it out to Burns on this near side. But again, the pressure from the blue and white stripes is absolutely relentless. Williams comes in field again. Now, maybe a chance for Luongo to switch play to the left-hand side for Ipswich Town and for Leif Davis. Back into the substitute Luongo again, who will come over halfway. Now looks for some movement, the Australian, going forward, but ends up with Davis and Burgess and Morsey in the centre circle. And those orange shirts of Ipswich Town look to press on once more, but Wolfenden will take his time. They haven't got much left, 23 minutes, and they trail 2-0 at the Hawthorns against West Bromwich Albion. Here on Talksport 2. Morsey out wide to that left-hand side again, to Leif Davis. What can that left foot of his magic up for Kieran McKenna's side? Nothing at the moment because he's not got possession, because it's with Burgess. And Morsey's wanting it, but he's not going to get it. Luongo was the one who was forcing the tempo. Now Morsey will drive forward from midway inside his own half. Down this right-hand touchline, Brandon Williams, who's had a tough evening defensively, now trying to offer something offensively. And Burns is on the charge, but Phillips is there, outstretched boot, and it'll be a throw down this right-hand side.
Brilliant. Even when they beat the initial press, Ipswich can't really get out and get at the West Brom defence because they're still so well organised. And again, there, Matty Phillips helping out his fullback, getting the tackle in, making sure they can then get back into position.
Midway point of the second half. Time is running out for Kieran McKenna's side. They trail 2-0. Unbeaten record away from home on the line. Harness wins the header. Keeper just gives him a little elbow in the back as he won the header, just to let him know he's there. Here's Davis now down that left-hand side on that left foot of his. Just tries to slide a ball into Harness, but his run is blocked off by Kyle Bartley. And he and Keeper have been so solid at the back for West Bromwich Albion. Davis again on that far touchline though. We know what danger he possesses in that left boot of his. Luongo back to halfway. Luke Wolfenden has it in the centre circle. The 22-year-old will just hold the ball up and go left again to Burgess. Luongo moves in field, just steps away from the attention of Diangana. Into the feet that time of Hurst, but they've lost it. And now it's Phillips coming over halfway down this left-hand side. Phillips still going, tries to play it into the feet of Wallace, who does have it, but by then his momentum's gone. He can just hold it up to Moat, and now Furlong is outside of him. Infield to Diangana. They'll just keep the ball. Townsend's the option. Then Yukoslu. And West Bromwich Albion happy to have it midway inside the Ipswich Town half. They lead 2-0. They're just trying to control the tempo of the game here. On that far side with Yukoslu. Plenty of space for Townsend if they go for the switch. I think it's just been picked up by Burns that actually on this near side there is room for Townsend. He needs to cover it off, which he does. Kipre has it. Townsend's on this near touchline level with the edge of the penalty area. Back in field they go, 35 yards out from goal for Phillips. Far touchline for Wallace. Back in field once more to Yukoslu and Moat, who combine nicely. It's just keep ball for West Bromwich Albion. And there's 3 substitutes coming. So they're preparing to make the change. Wallace with a really good challenge. He didn't need to make it. He was probably going to run out, but he just got back on Davis and puts the ball out of play for a throw. And the triple change coming for West Bromwich Albion. The first of which will see Grady Diangana depart. And he will be replaced by the returning John Swift. That's the first change. Matty Phillips will also leave the field. Jeremy Sarmiento will come on for him. And we're also going to see Jason Malumbi. And I suspect that will be for Alex Mowatt potentially. No, it's going to be for Yukoslu in the middle of the park. So a triple change to freshen things up for West Bromwich Albion.
Well, I'm not quite sure they need things to freshen up. And one thing I would say is they're in absolutely full control, but there's still 20 minutes to go. And if there's somehow one mistake or one bit of brilliance from Ipswich, then they're back in the game. So I'm slightly surprised with them being so much in control. I perhaps would have given it another 10 minutes to make sure you 2-0 up before you make 3 changes. That's a lot of changes with still a long way to go, especially when you're in control.
And we know Diangana had a knock from the international break when he was with Congo. Maybe there's one eye on Cardiff midweek as well. That's coming up on Tuesday night live here on Talksport 2, of course. But 3 changes then. Swift's back out there with gloves on. Sarmiento and Malumbi, the 3 changes for West Bromwich Albion. 19 minutes remaining, plus time to be added on, of course, here on Talksport 2, where it remains 2-0 to the home side. Wallace is on the charge down that far touchline again, and that's better defending from Davis this time as his back heel cannons off of Wallace and out of play for a goal kick away to our left-hand side. The interesting thing from Kieran McKenna is any further changes coming from him, and at the moment, doesn't look like it. Just glance down and see if there's any more. Oh, actually, I changed that. The Depot is about to come on, I think.
Yeah, he'd be the only one, I think. You'd be thinking we've got to get him on the pitch.
Thomas Asante does well, but then loses out to Morsey. And it's Harness who just plays that ball back towards Davis again. Level with the edge of his own penalty area. And we thought they'd come out and maybe be a little further up the field, but that goal inside a minute at the start of the second half really kind of took the wind out of anything McKenna had said at half-time, didn't it?
Absolutely. Psychologically, that's a massive blow. You've already been outplayed in the first half. You've been asked to do something and play a little bit different by pushing up in the second, and suddenly you've done that. You've what was it? Did it come from a corner or a free kick? Certainly from them attacking, and I just thought it's a wonderful way of a counter-attack football, knowing when to pass, when to run, when to time your run, and then when to finish. Brilliant goal.
Here's Williams, midway inside his own half on this right-hand side. Sarmiento putting the pressure on now, and I guess that's the question. The changes that Carlos Corberán has made, will they bring that same energy and effort and press and ethic?
Look, I think what you're doing is you're saving the legs of the players you've taken off, but what you don't want to do is lose the momentum that you've already got, because it's still 2-0. As I say, if it's 3-0, it's game over, and you can certainly do that. If it's 2-0, it can make things a little bit bitty, and the players take 5 or 10 minutes to get used to the pace of the game, and because there's 3 of them already as well, you're pretty much changing 30% of your outfield players. Not always the easiest thing to do, but Ipswich haven't really shown anything that they're capable of creating something and putting them under pressure. So I'm sure he feels, Carlos Corberán, this is the right thing to do.
Freddie Ladapo is coming on. String of clubs for the 30-year-old, of course. Hasn't scored in his last 6 league appearances, but certainly made a difference when he came on against Birmingham City to help inspire the comeback on that occasion. And I think we're also going to see the introduction of Caden Jackson as well, the former Barnsley, Wrexham and Swindon player. He has scored against Preston and Stoke this season. Bradford born, of course, he'll come into the fray as well. But maybe it will be over by then, because here's Sarmiento on a charge inside the penalty area, goes down under the challenge from Morse. He was going to get a yellow card for that, and that's going to be a free kick. I mean, it feels harsh because it seemed a silly little challenge, but the referee, no hesitation, and, well, they have taken the ball way out from the edge of the penalty area, which is where the tackle happened.
Well, do you know what? There's a part of me that feels like I'm speaking as if I'm an Albion fan, but I've been so impressed with them, with the ball, without the ball, when they've passed it, when they've counter-attacked. And Sarmiento there, again, very intelligent, just showing Sam Morsey the ball and then tucking in down the outside. And he's dived in. It looks a little bit innocuous, but he's brought him down in a dangerous position. It's a foul and it's a yellow card.
Well, it's also not where the free kick should be. They've moved that about 5 yards to the right.
They have.
And about 2 or 3 yards further back. The couple of changes made for Ipswich, I'll run you through those in a moment or two. Certainly Burns has left the field of play. And Ladapo, as I said, has come on, and Caden Jackson as well. But here's the free kick for West Brom. It's probably about 22 yards out. It's maybe 7 yards from the edge of the box on the left-hand side. Swift is just on the field. He's already got 6 goals this season. He's deadly from this range, John Swift. And here he is with a free kick into the wall. Comes back to him. Squares it up for Malumbi. Helps it out wide right to Wallace. Wallace, right-footed ball. Too much on it. Over the top of the goal and out of play. Away to our left-hand side for what will be a goal kick. So no advantage gained from that dodgy position, and I think it's George Hurst, the other player, who's gone off.
Yeah, it was 5 yards, or maybe 3 yards further in, and then just a yard or so out as well to give almost the optimum position. And with Swift being as good as he is, technically, I think he'd be disappointed with that.
It's quite important details, that, though, isn't it, when you move it that far to the right?
Absolutely, totally.
Suddenly, a shot on goal is far more feasible.
It opened up the goal, Adam. It opened up the goal to make that attempt, whereas it would have been really tight to have had a shot from that angle. It had been taken from where the actual foul was committed.
14 minutes remaining here. What can Ipswich do? They trail 2-0. Unbeaten away from home in the Championship. But it's all on the line down that left-hand side. Remember, they've not actually lost in the Championship since the 25th of August. It's 12 games unbeaten since that defeat at home against Leeds. So this really will be, I'm not going to say a surprise, because West Brom did start the day 8th in the table. They'll go 6th if they can hold on here. But you just thought Ipswich had maybe just got over those wobbles with that win over Swansea last time out, and obviously West Brom went to Southampton and got beaten as well.
Yeah, but you know what the Championship's like. you can beat some of the top teams. You can have supposed wobbles against teams that are down there. Obviously Leeds drew against Rotherham. Personally, I'm happy that Rotherham got a point in that game, but it's just so relentless, the Championship. It really is. It's just battle after battle after battle.
Sarmiento down this left-hand side, trying to get away from Williams, just overruns it. On loan, of course, from Brighton. Got a little glimpse of him in the FA Cup last season up at Stoke for Brighton. Looked very tidy and accomplished on the ball. Scored a goal here already this season when he came on as a substitute against Middlesbrough. That secured the 4-2 victory that day. And he looks lively. with his socks down around his ankles almost. Not quite Steve Claridge-esque, but not far off. On that left-hand side, forward it goes from Burgess. Early ball, header one on the halfway line by Bartley. He and Keeprey. How impressed have you been with those two as a pair of centre-halves?
Yeah, they've been very good, haven't they? Been really, really solid, and they've been protected by the midfield in front of them, and I think that's what the Ipswich midfield players have not been able to do. One, they've not been able to protect their own back four, but what they've also, when they've really dropped off the centre-halves, they've not been able to get hold of the ball. They've not been able to get the shackles off the West Brom midfielders themselves, so therefore they've knocked long balls.
That's a delightful ball forward. The charge was made by Leif Davis, and it had to be defended well by Bartley. It was a lovely ball by Burgess, and Davis had made the run to the edge of the penalty area, took it in his stride, but Bartley again is up to the task.
Read the game really, really well, didn't he? It was a really good ball. It was a good touch without being a brilliant one, but good defending.
Good defending again from Bartley to head the ball into the box away. That came to Chaplin, who was about to size up a shot inside the penalty area, but taken off his toes. And Ipswich just mounting a little bit of pressure now as we go into the last 11 and a half minutes of this game. They trail 2-0. They need something from somewhere. Here's Davis on that far side. Is he the magic man that can conjure something up here for Ipswich Town? Infield it goes to Morsey, who will go wide to this right-hand side towards Williams. He goes back almost short to Wolfenden and put him under a tad of pressure. It just made everything suddenly a little more hurried because the press was good from West Brom again. And Sarmiento does his job. Williams on the spin, tries to play a ball down the line, and it's straight into touch. He looks tired, and we're going to see Thomas Asante come off, and Josh Maja will come on for West Bromwich Albion. And Thomas Asante takes his time, and he gets a standing ovation from the home support for a really good run out from the young centre forward.
Yeah, he played really well. I think he would have felt maybe he could have scored in the goal that, just before the 1-0 came about. But this is a great moment, isn't it, for West Brom fans to see Josh Maja back in, and hopefully he can stay fit.
I mean, he had that season at Sunderland where he was tremendous, didn't he? But since then, he's never quite hit those heights again, has he?
No, it's very difficult. And, when you're a youngster and you go abroad, it's not easy, and sometimes you can lose your way for a bit. But it just feels like Carlos Corberán, for a lot of players here, is creating a culture of a really good place to be. And there's some managers where you just sort of, if he turns around and says to you, just follow me, just do what I say, you feel like they'll find some success.
He's got his first touch here towards the edge of the penalty area. Finds Swift on this near side. Swift is closed down and edge of the box, plays it out wide here to Townsend. Well, Malumbi's just giving it away in the middle of the park. Ladapo will pick up the loose ball. He's got Chaplin outside him on the right hand side. First touch from Chaplin draws the foul from Swift. No, says the referee. Chaplin went down and he's got his hand on his head because he doesn't understand what I was expecting whistle to lips, I won't lie, but it didn't come. And it's with Moat in the centre circle. Out to this left hand side. Picked up short to Malumbi. Foul for you or not?
No, not so sure.
What
I do like about the EFL is that there's no VAR involved, there are some good decisions, there are some not so good decisions, but everyone just gets on with it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of relief around when that's not involved. Carlos Corberán just shoving Sarmiento, saying, get over there, that's where I want you. Here's Maja, on to Sarmiento now, he's on the charge, can he get there ahead of Williams? Williams goes down and Sarmiento nearly got there. I think Williams was thinking he was fouled, but the referee again is happy with the contact and having none of it.
That would have been fascinating to see if he would have given the foul, because I actually felt that was a foul. You talk about the socks of Sarmiento being low. I mean, I think Brandon Williams' socks are even lower. I think he's struggling a bit now physically, so he got that touch, went down, was able to flick the ball away, and I personally think it would have been a foul, but the way the referees refereed the game, and I've got no complaints with the way he has reffed the game, I think he might have played on there, so Sarmiento nearly in.
Dane Scarlett is going to come on for Ipswich Town. That'll be their 3 sets of changes, so unless he's coming on for Williams, they're going to try and get the full 90 out of Brandon Williams on his return from injury, even though he does look weary and tired. I mean, you've had Matt Phillips running at you all game, and then all of a sudden Sarmiento appears and it's like, oh thanks, here we go again.
Adam, I've been there before. You see one winger off and you think, you look over and you think, oh my goodness, he's coming on now.
Wallace wins the header on the far side, out of play for a throw to Ipswich Town. 8 minutes to go, they need goals. They trail here by 2-0, and it's Chaplin that's coming off, and Scarlett on loan from Spurs, he will come on. Never made a senior appearance for Spurs in the league, just 19 years of age. was at Portsmouth last season, and now on the step up to the Championship. There was a few promising signs in that draw at Birmingham City. In fact, he actually picked him out, Kieran McKenna, afterwards for some praise after coming on, but yet to really make his mark. Maybe today's the day in an Ipswich shirt. Little slip there by Townsend as allowed the run down this near side of Jackson towards the byline, who just runs it out of play. And if anything sums up Ipswich's night, that's probably it.
It does, and the problem is that there was that slip from Townsend, and Jackson's wanting to be really keen and show that he tries to get forward, but once he's taken that first touch, that second touch had to be perfect, otherwise he was always going to run it out with the pace that he was running at. So just a bit of composure there. You've taken the first touch, you're only a few yards away from the byline. Compose yourself and try and cross the ball.
There's over 2,000 who've made the journey up from East Anglia for this game today. They'll be going home a little disappointed as things stand. 6.5 minutes plus time to be added on, of course, and Ipswich trailing by 2-0. Furlong early in the first half, and even earlier in the second half, Grady Diangana with just a wonderful counter-attacking goal from a West Bromwich Albion side who really have bossed this game from start to finish.
I don't want to speak too early because we've still got 6 minutes plus injury time, which could easily be another 6, and there's plenty of time to score 2 goals. But Ipswich have been well beaten today. West Brom have done them in every department, and it would be a travesty from a neutral point of view, and obviously from a Baggies point of view as well, if they weren't to get all 3 points in. I think it'd be a big statement. You know, Ipswich have had a wonderful season so far. I said at the start of the season I felt them for top 6, and watching them win after win, you know, it's brilliant. Can you keep it up? But well, look, with the games they've got coming up, you know, I think there's Borough away, there's Norwich, of course. That's going to be a massive one, the first time in a few years. There's Leeds and Leicester. It's really difficult fixtures coming up, but I feel this is a statement win from Albion if they are to see this out.
And it's a funny one because you just look at the stats of the game to this point with 84.5 minutes on the clock, and I mean, possession-wise, Ipswich have just shaded it, but then it's what you do with the possession, isn't it? Because we've had 10 shots from Albion, just the 4 from Ipswich, but not one on target.
Not one on target. That's what I'm looking at as well, and I think that says it all, doesn't it? You know, okay, it's pretty much 50-50. Ipswich shading it in terms of the possession, but you know, no shots on target. That's what an opposition manager would be looking at and thinking that's fantastic defending.
Well, Maltish just leathered that ball straight into the side of Harness's face, and I thought we were going to see Harness go to the ground because he absolutely took that full on, but he's all right. He's walking away. He made a stern stuff.
Yeah. He can take a punch.
On that far side, it's a foul, and this time the challenge is on Furlong, and it will be a free kick for West Brom midway inside their own half, who are now really just trying to kill this game down and just slow the tempo. We saw a few moments ago Carl Bartley just pump a long ball forward, which is something we've not really seen at various points in this game, but I think they're happy to see out this last 4.5 minutes plus added time and take the 3 points.
It's about game management, and you don't want to be playing out from the back and giving away an opportunity in silly situations, but at the same time, you know, don't necessarily just kick the ball long all the time. You're in control of the situation. Ipswich haven't really looked as if they were ever really in the game. So, you know, don't give away the ball in your own third, but at the same time, really try and keep it as much as you possibly can.
I'm fairly sure that Matty Phillips won't be looking at the stats after this game, because there is the column about attack where it lists the clear-cut chances, and West Bromwich Albion had one, and it didn't lead to a goal, I promise you, if you worked with us earlier. He missed from about 2 yards.
That is the best chance they've had of the game, and yet you're right.
It's the only clear-cut chance there was, I think. Swift down this left-hand side. He has possession for West Bromwich Albion, is happy to keep it, goes back inside to Moat, and then it's back again with Swift, who steps away from Jackson, and the calling for it on the right-hand side is Furlong, and I think he's going to get it now from Palmer out wide to that far touchline, and he's got Wallace ahead of him again, who's just hasn't stopped running for this entire game for West Bromwich Albion. And at times Ipswich have been chasing shadows. They are doing the press now. Harness is doing the work. Ladapo's there as well, but it's Kipre will go back to Palmer on the edge of his 6-yard box. The Olays have started from the home support, and it's a crunching challenge there. Furlong just going toe-to-toe in the end with Luongo. I think it may have been Luongo, or it could have been the Scarlet actually, and it is a free kick. Just seemed a little bit messy, though.
No, it was, but I mean, that's what I was talking about with game management that West Brom need to do, and they were passing it. I just felt Alex Palmer just give it to the nearest person. Don't necessarily try and play a flashy ball. And I'm not saying it was a flashy ball, but it wasn't the nearest ball, wasn't the simplest ball. And now he's giving the ball away, and it's a free kick, and suddenly if something happens here, that everyone starts to get a bit nervous.
Yeah, 2.5 minutes plus added time here on Talksport 2, EFL Game Day Live. And here on that far side is Davis to deliver. Off the angle of the box, diagonally, probably about 23 yards out on that left-hand side. And we know what he can do with this left foot of his. It is a wand. Plenty of chat again inside that penalty area. Gavin Ward just speaking, I think, to Ladapo and Bartley, who are the two who are grappling. Waiting for the whistle, and he's not going to deliver the whistle because Harness has now gone to the ground. He and Sarmiento are the two players that are colliding. And a little bit of rough and tumble, pushing and shoving. 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. But Ward not happy. Now, Leif Davis to deliver. Left-footed, which he does into the danger zone, and the header away is from Furlong. It was his header that scored the opening goal of the game, and that time he had to be decisive, and he's put it behind for a corner.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, just put themselves under pressure by giving the ball away in the first place, or getting the foul away. And now was another set piece, another opportunity. Ipswich, when you're not playing well, can you somehow grab a point, which they've done before from 2-0 down.
Here's the corner towards that near post. It's a bit of a melee, and it's cleared at the near post. Is it away once more by Swift this time, back in by Wolfenden. The Dapo's there to try and get the shot. Harness tries to poke one goalwards, and in the end, Keeper gets it away. And listen to the roar as they do. And then Wallace is on the chase for the up and under, and he's pushed over, surely. He was blocked from making his run. Gavin Ward says no, and Ipswich come again. And they've got 5 forward in the attack down the left-hand side. Davis once more, but they don't go at pace. Infield it goes to Morsey. Morsey's going to look to just put his foot on the ball and find the opening. And it is clipped through towards the edge of the penalty area. Scarlett's there, and he shoots wide with the left foot. It was in the air for a long time, but Palmer just watches it sail wide of the left-hand post.
Well, 3 things there. One, the pin ball, the way that West Brom weren't able to get the ball out, and you're thinking, can Ipswich somehow get a goal? Then it went down the other end, and you thought it was a foul, really, but I really like the way Gavin Ward is refereeing this game. It's physical, and sometimes you think that if that's in the Premier League, that's definitely seen as a foul, but it's not the Premier League, it's the Championship. He's let things go, so well done to him. And then Dane Scarlett as well. It's so close, 20 yards out. And again, I talk about how they don't deserve to get anything out of this game, Ipswich, but if they were able to score, if they are able to score in the next 60 seconds, then you just never know what can happen.
5 minutes remaining, added on by the referee. Scarlett this time is going to be penalised for the foul as Furlong goes down. It'll be a free kick to West Brom, probably about 15-20 yards inside their own half. So Leicester looking like they're going to be 3 clear at the top of the Championship tonight after their win earlier on today against Watford. Leeds will be within 7, of course, and for West Bromwich Albion, they'll move up into the top 6 with this victory, onto 29 points from their 17 games. Could be a 5th clean sheet at home in the last 6 games as well, and a 6th home win. This really is a tough place to come, as Leicester will find out next Saturday lunchtime on Talksport.
Absolutely. See this game off, and if they are able to win next week against Leicester and obviously get a victory in midweek, and suddenly, you're suddenly thinking, well, could they just be chasing the top 2?
Well, it is tough game after tough game, isn't it? It's away at Cardiff, who are, 27 points. They're sat just behind them in the table. That's the midweek game. Then obviously it's Leicester, then Sunderland away, and then you get Rotherham away and Stoke at home. So it's a tough run of fixtures for them. And for Ipswich as well, Millwall at home next, then Coventry, and then you've got Middlesbrough and Watford away, and then of course the game against Norwich, which is live here on Talksport 2.
Yeah, and then Leeds and Leicester.
Indeed. So
you could do blocks of 6 and say, well, that's really difficult, and maybe one game you think you should win. Then you look at the next block of 6 and it's exactly the same, isn't it?
It is. Semi Ajayi's coming on to replace Jed Wallace, and this is the last moment of shutting up shop then for Carlos Corberán, who, I wonder how many calories he uses during a game, because he literally doesn't stop. Arms, legs, everything is going throughout the entire 90 minutes.
He does his 10,000 steps, doesn't he, for sure?
Well, he's still doing it now. He's still giving his instructions to Semi Ajayi, who's been in action, of course, for Nigeria. 2 international appearances. He actually scored against Lesotho in midweek, and he's on the field of play to make a third centre half. So it'll be a 5 at the back for sure for West Bromwich Albion to see this game out, and we've only got 2.5 minutes or so left here on Talksport 2. Ipswich have it, midway inside their own half. Wolfenden will just play it short to Morsey. We really are in last chance saloon now for Ipswich. They need 2 goals and they've got about 2 minutes to do it. Sarmiento will clear from deep inside his own half. Josh Mathew is there and does brilliantly to keep hold of it, and then it's helped on its way by Malumbi, but the chase is on for Moat. He's not got the pace really. He'll do the running that's required, but never really going to get to the ball. But Williams on this near side will. Wolfenden's there. Madger closes it down. Harness helps on its way, but they'll still keep them pressed in even in these last few moments. Madger does well. Moat forward. Sarmiento on this left-hand side. Sarmiento with the ball at feet, running towards the byline, just trying to trick 2 of them, Harness and Williams rattles in with the challenge. And it's going to be a corner on this near side.
I've been there. You're tired. In the last few minutes, you got a tricky winger trying to nutmeg you. It was a good tackle, that, from Brandon Williams.
Swift to take. Only 2 in the box here for West Bromwich Albion, because we are into the last 90 seconds of time added on. Sarmiento with the ball at feet. Still gets the crossing. It's headed away that time by Scarlett. Only as far as Malumbi, who pushes it to Semi Ajayi, the substitute on the right-hand side, and he's full of running down that far touchline. Is Semi Ajayi. He's been brought on to shore things up, and he's charging forward like a right wing-back.
I think he thinks he's the right winger there, doesn't he?
Very much so. Throwing on that far side, which Furlong will take up. I'm not sure we're going to see one launched into the box here. The Albion faithful are up on their feet. They're singing loud and proud, and it's no surprise. We know at home they are magnificent. This will be 53 points they'll have taken since the start of last November at home. 16 victories, 5 draws and just 2 defeats in 13 months. Are they going to seal it with a 3rd goal here? They've tried to get it across to Sarmiento. It was good work by Malumbi, but in the end it's snuffed out by Ipswich Town. Swift with a little flick. Here's Ajayi again down that right hand side, racing towards the byline, and then puts it out of play, and it will be a goal kick away to our left hand side. But we've almost had the 5 minutes added by Gavin Ward, and you'd have thought once that ball's back in play, he has checked his watch once. Radke's going to try and launch it forward here, leaves it for Wolfenden. Out to the left hand side to Burgess. Burgess midway inside his own half, clips the ball forward. Scarlett's on the chase, but Furlong wins the first header. Ladapo it comes down to. Scarlett again at the edge of the penalty area, and there is the final whistle, and the Hawthorns erupts, and no surprise, it's a brilliant win for West Bromwich Albion. It's another home victory, it's another home clean sheet, another 3 points at what is once again this season becoming a fortress. An early goal from Furlong inside the first 5 minutes after Matty Phillips' cross. A lovely flicked header that should have been defended better. And then right at the start of the second half, Grady Diangana with the most perfect counter-attacking goal. Wallace, Thomas Asante, they're all involved. And Diangana with a delightful little finish. They should have made it 3. Matt Phillips with potentially one of the misses of the season from a couple of yards out. But in the end, it didn't matter. Ipswich Town's unbeaten away record has gone, and it's gone at the hands of West Bromwich Albion. Others have tried and failed, but the Baggies have done the job tonight, and they've done it incredibly well. A 2-0 victory to be proud of. It moves them into the top 6, and it means Leicester stand alone at the top of the Championship tonight. 3 points clear. Scott Minto, the former Chelsea and Charlton defender, has been alongside me tonight. Thoroughly deserved victory that was probably never really in doubt, was it?
No, from start to finish I thought they were the better side. We talked about the international break sometimes being difficult to get going again, and I think that happened for Ipswich, but it certainly didn't happen for Albion. Brilliant with the ball, brilliant without the ball, very good passing, counter-attack superbly. could and should have made it 3, Adam. I can't wait to see you in a similar position in about 15 minutes' time, sticking the ball in the back of the net. But look, I think what Carlos Corberán has done is nothing short of sensational. You can talk about Kieran McKenna as well. But I'm looking at the table now, and I don't think you get brilliant odds for it, but I think 5 of the 6 places are pretty much sorted. I think with Ipswich being that far ahead, I don't see the other teams really catching them up and then really falling away. Obviously, you're only 17 games in. But Leicester, Ipswich, Leeds, Southampton, West Brom, I think the others are fighting for 6th.
It was a terrific game plan tonight from Carlos Corberán, wasn't it? What we know and what we've seen from his time at Huddersfield, his time last season at West Brom, he knows how to organise teams. He knows how to pick the right lineup to beat them. And also, it's, you know, you sit today and go, he made one change, but actually tactically, when they didn't have possession, he dropped Townsend in as a third centre half and played the wing backs, and the front boys were all interchanging as well. He's a sharp coach, and he will pose problems obviously for Cardiff midweek, but then for Leicester next Saturday.
Absolutely. I mean, his teams are so fluid. They're happy to play with a 3 or a 4. You know, as you say, you know, in game it changes as well. They're moving around all the time, different players. You know, you can talk about Diangana and Jed Wallace swapping over. And then you've got Thomas Asante, who was a very good player. But I'll tell you what he'll really, really like. He'll like the fact that the players now coming off the bench, he's got more and more options. But I just thought they were superbly organised without the ball, and that's how they won this game tonight. They were able to do what they were able to do with the ball, but they didn't allow Ipswich to do anything that we've seen Ipswich and the reasons why they've got into that automatic promotion place at all this evening. Superb how they worked so hard without the ball, and that's not an easy thing to do, because even at this level, not just Premier League level, even at this level, you get some players with a lot of egos and they don't always want to work hard. We've seen a team now 100% behind this very, very good coach.
So West Brom are up to 5th in the table on 29 points, then ahead of Preston now. As for Ipswich, I mean, that's their first defeat since August. It's their first on the road this season. With the last 2 results where they've got away with 2-2 draws, it kind of feels like it's been coming. I suppose now the reaction is what happens from here. So you say a couple of home games coming up, which is probably quite good for them, the fact they've got Millwall and Coventry to come. But Kieran McKenna now, first test really to lift them after this?
No, absolutely. I mean, look, let's be real here. For them to be second after them coming up from League One last season is incredible. They're way ahead of the game at the moment. I said at the start of the season, and I haven't changed, I still fancy them to finish in the top 6. So, but then for them to be where they are and so far ahead of Leeds at the moment is absolutely brilliant. But look, games coming thick and fast. You're playing at a high level from what you were last season. It will catch up on you at some point. And you're playing against a side that, as we've just talked about, extremely well coached, very good individuals, know how to play as a team, have got the sort of almost fortress playing at home with the fans 100% behind them. Tonight was always going to be a difficult game, and they won't be judged on a West Brom away. But you're right, Millwall at home now, it's all about how you bounce back. That is what the Championship is about.
Scott Minto, thank you for your company tonight. Been an absolute pleasure. Scott alongside us here. You'll hear him midweek when Lazio take on Celtic here on Talksport. To a reminder, more live Championship action coming your way on Tuesday night when West Brom will be taking on Cardiff. That's live, 7:45 kickoff on Tuesday night here on Talksport 2. Thank you for your company tonight. A terrific game of football, a comfortable win in the end for West Bromwich Albion. It's finished here at the Hawthorns. West Bromwich Albion 2, Ipswich Town 0. Coming up next, it's Cult Heroes.